Brian DiMattei. Is that it?
Yes, that is it.
DiMattei's food fight. Dude, how are you?
I'm doing good. We got the sign right there. We got the
Yeah.
sign right there.
Yeah, man.
Yep.
Got the red jacket in the background. I love it.
We got the red jacket in the back. I haven't worn it in a while. It's probably some dust up on the shoulders up there. I usually dust pretty good, but I don't think I dusted that off. I got to bring it down there one of these days. It's been a little while.
Well, I'm glad we finally got to do this. I think I reached out to you like back in April. I sat down with Jim Mirabelli, who
Hmm.
does the NEPA pizza review page. I'm actually wearing one of his hats. No offense to you.
Oh, I
Um,
love it.
I know, I
Jim's
know. We'll get
good
into all
friend.
that.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So this hat, there's actually a store. By the time this airs, the store will be closing today. So if you see this and watching this, you can get one of these hats. You go to his page. He's got an online store through Axelrad, and the proceeds are going to the United Way. You can get a hat. There's shirts and there's hoodies available. So
Very
act
nice.
now. The store closes tonight at midnight. So um, yeah. So I was talking to him, and it was funny because I've known Jim for a long time. He was on episode 16 when I started this, and then he joined me for I think it was like episode like 135, and we talked about you actually because it was funny. Like to me, Jim is the OG Pennsylvania pizza guy, right?
Hmm.
But I'm like, Jim, who's this other guy? Who's this handsome guy with this strong jaw, the
Thanks
nice
for
beard?
watching
He's running around with a red jacket on, like. And he told me
that.
about you, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that's Brian, and we collaborate here and there. He's a great guy, yada yada yada." I was like, "Okay, cool," because he's got this page, the food fight page. I thought maybe we're gonna have a pizza fight, you guys. But he's like, "Yeah, you should hit him up and talk to him." So actually, after that episode aired, I hit you up shortly after, and I'm glad it didn't play out right away because you actually appeared shortly after our initial conversation
Yes.
on the stacks.
Yeah, I did. I
Shout
did.
out
Yeah.
Billy Corcoran. He's got a great podcast on the stacks, and that's cool because it would have kind of clashed. It would have been
Yeah. Yeah.
him, and then
It worked out. It worked out the way it needed to work out.
yeah. Well, what's funny,
Yeah.
he just had Jim on his,
Yeah.
so
I didn't watch it yet. I
it'll
just
be
saw the bits
last
parts of it.
at this point. It'll be last week, so go check out Jim's interview with Bill Corcoran on the stacks. Like I said, Bill's got a great product, and he's doing some pretty cool things. And um, it's funny because you guys are the pizza guys, and I was like, are they fighting? And it's cool to have like these collaborations. And I always bust Bill's balls, and I say that I prep his guests for the big show. Like his is the big show. He's got the studio, the lights, all the cameras, all that kind of shit. He's had a few of the guests that I've had, and I bust his balls saying that I prep them for him.
You get him ready for him. Yeah, I hear
Yeah,
you.
but he got.
opposite opposite way around now. He prepped me
I know, I
for
know,
your show.
I know.
See that?
So it's funny how it's nice to have this little NEPA collaborative community and support and all that kind of stuff, and we're all just trying to do cool things and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, so to me, you kind of popped up out of nowhere. I'm like, who is this Brian guy? Who's this guy with the red jacket doing these pizza reviews?
Yeah.
Um, and it was very like, Jim was very like, I don't want to, how do I say? He's like just very kind of like, um, I don't know how you would describe it, but just kind of like thought out. And not that you're not thought out, but like you were just like, it was like kind of like on the cuff. It was just like very
It
like
was.
organic and which is cool.
Learned as I went. Learned as I went. It started off with when I moved to Kingston last year. It was just about a year ago. That Pizza Hut in Kingston, the Pizza Hut Express,
Yeah.
around the block from me, they were taking their time opening it. They're having delays, all that kind of stuff. And I was going for a walk, and I took a picture of it, and I made a little post on my regular Facebook page saying like, "Hey, who knows what's going on with this, right?" And people are interested with it. And every couple of weeks, when I go for my walk or my run, I would take another picture and post it again. Remember the first time I wanted to take a video, like a live video of like the Pizza Hut? There was no one around. It was 8:30 in the morning. There was nobody around. I was so nervous doing it. Like people were staring at me. I walked around the block one extra time just to do it again. Now I just bust out the phone and the microphone and go around and do stuff now. But that's how it started, just by that Pizza Hut Express.
Pizza Hut
And
started it all.
Pizza Hut started it all. This the nostalgia of the Pizza Hut, it started it all. And I just kept on making posts, and then I got connected with my buddy Mike Palatano, who owns Tuxedo Junction. He knew the owner of that place, and he hooked me up with him. He was giving me inside information, and then I'm constantly asking Mike. I'm like, "Oh, Mike, what's going on?" He finally got in touch with the owner. Then the owner stayed in touch, and so I kept on making updates. And then I don't know if you saw the video. I ended up buying the first stuffed crust pizza from that shop.
You got the first one.
The first one.
That's
The
sweet.
first one. And then yeah, and then the video got shared on the Valley page. So it went viral for a little while, like 25, 30,000 views. It was pretty cool. And that's what really kicked everything off. And then in the meantime, I was doing other stuff, but like I was eating the pizza and videotaping it and then doing the review afterwards. And people were like, eat the pizza in the review. I'm like, no one wants to watch me eat pizza. I don't want to watch myself eat pizza.
Right. It is weird,
But people
right?
ask, yeah, it's weird. People ask for it though, and my views have gone up, my following has gotten bigger, and I'm having more fun doing it.
Yeah.
But now I just do it in my car, and it's fun now. I have a lot of fun. I'm used to it now. I'm not as nervous as I used to be because it was nerve wracking at first. And honestly, nobody cares if you're sitting in your car and making pizza videos.
It's weird, dude. Like I did one food review. I have a connection with McDonald's, and they were releasing their like new crispy chicken sandwich. This is like early 2021. So it was 2021, maybe February, March. And yeah, they're like, hey, like we want you to like review the food. We'll give you food for the office, blah blah blah. And I don't know how many takes I did. Maybe it was only like one or two, but it felt like a lot. But I'm in my car, and I'm chewing. Like I'm like, who wants to watch me like chew this burger, like food
Mhm.
falling out of my mouth, like. But that's what like people want now. It's weird. It's like
They want to see it. They
yeah,
want to
and it's
see
like
it.
I wish I was a little bit younger because like I'm 40 years old, and I grew up, maybe I just missed that whole like um you know constant like selfies and all that kind of shit. It's not me. It's just weird for me to do. I feel very awkward doing it. It's just so I give a lot of credit to those who can, because it's not easy.
It took me time to get used. I'm an outgoing person, but when it comes to stuff like that, I was even doing it in my house, and it's not like there were live videos. I'm just gonna do it. I gotta redo it. I would get like start a little sweat, get a little nervous, but that just took the more and more you do it, just like when you learn jujitsu, the more and more you do it, the easier it gets. Well, not so much jujitsu, but the food reviews have gotten much easier. Especially if you're sitting in the car and you're eating, they don't want to watch you eat the whole thing. You have to edit that part. You gotta take the
Right.
first bite, do a chew, and then boom, cut to the end. So I'm starting to learn that more. Once I downloaded that InShot app where you can make the videos, my videos have changed.
In
Yeah,
shot.
it's fantastic. InShot. It's called InShot.
Hmm.
I make my videos on there. You can do it on the computer, on the iPad, or on your phone. That's how I get the picture in picture up there and all the editing up there. It's amazing. I don't think I even scratched the surface yet on what you could do on that. But that's where my
There's-
videos went from. They went from here to like maybe like right here now. I'm
Okay.
getting a little bit better. You know what I mean? And they're getting better and better and better. And you know, people want to see you eat pizza, so I'm eating the pizza now in the car. And then when I walk into the pizza places, I give them my sticker for the food fight page. I tell them I do a little review, and if they want to talk a little bit more, they do. If they're not, I just pay for my pizza and I leave.
Yeah. Do you have a lot
And
of
I
people
just do
who
the
don't? Is there other people who don't want to be involved?
talk it all. Um, so I don't really walk in this store. I was getting like you see, I have a bunch of pictures in the back of me. I was getting pictures with people from the pizza places. So this depends on how busy they are and how I feel when I walk in there. A lot of the times, oh, that's cool. I'll check it out. You know what I mean? So they check it out. But like, I used to like getting pictures with them. But then if they're busy, I feel like, hey, you want to get a picture with me and take a selfie with them? So I don't really do it as much as I used to do. So I
Right.
want to go in, pay for my pizza, and go out. Let the review do the stuff. I'll tag them in there and people share it. So I keep it positive. I know people that follow my page. I don't post bad reviews. I might post a bad review from like a chain restaurant or like McDonald's or Burger King or something like that because you know they've been around forever. They're not a mom and pop
Sure.
shop on the corner that makes their food every day. And just one day, someone might be. I worked in the restaurant business for 20 years. So you could have one or two bad days of cooking, and it's not fair to judge a restaurant or a pizza place based off one time. Now, don't get me wrong. If I go to a place and the food's bad 3 times in a row, I'm not going back there. I'm also not going to talk about it. There's no need for me to tell anyone, oh, this pizza sucks at this place. I've had bad pizza. There's a lot of reviews I have never posted, but I do the review automatically just in case. But if it's bad or I don't like it, I just don't talk about it anymore.
Yeah,
Jim
so
does the same thing. Jim never
yeah.
posts. Jim never posts a bad review.
Yeah, it's weird because, like, I mean, I agree with that, right? I mean, you want to be, a positive influence on the area. You don't want to be talking shit on places. Like, it's who are you really? I mean, like,
Yeah,
food and taste is subjective, just like music is. Like, it could be just, you don't like that pizza per se, right? But
exactly.
but also, like, do you think that we if we're somebody who like makes a bad product and no one's going to tell us that it sucks, like, I mean, maybe someone should,
You're not you're not wrong. You're
you know?
absolutely not wrong. But these restaurants have been in business for a long time, and just because I don't like the pizza doesn't mean that you're not going to like the pizza. I
Right.
hear what you're saying 1,000%. And there's a lot of times I want to go on my page, I want to blast this place or maybe blast that place for it's not too clean inside or the car bad customer service. You know what I mean? But again, I just don't want to bring that to my page would probably be doubled in followers if I
Yeah,
brought in
right.
those negative
Yeah.
reviews. Definitely, probably more than likely. But I just don't like that kind of feedback. You know what I mean? I just don't. For a small example, I'm not going to say any names, but I made a comment on this one pizza I saw online for my normal page, and I was joking around about it. But the owner of the place, messaged me and said like, "Oh, what'd you say about that about my pizza?" I'm like, "I just said about like what was on the pizza. I just don't like blue cheese." You know what I mean? And there was like a blue cheese swirl on there. I'm like, "Is that blue cheese?" And my buddy Mike was like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Oh, not for me," because he knows I hate blue cheese like with a passion. I just don't bring me near blue cheese, right? And that was a joke, but I should have realized like what I do on my food page and my personal page kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah.
And the guy saw it, messaged me, and was upset from it. Like, why would you say that about my pizza? Have you never tried it? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you know what? You're right. I was misunderstanding. I explained it to him, and everything was cool after that. But I felt bad about that. So that goes back to me being, if I go on there and just blast the place, I'm going to get feedback from that, and I just don't want to. I don't want to deal with it. I work in Wilkes-Barre in the public. I work at Wilkes-Barre MMA, Good Tree MMA down in Wilkes-Barre, and you know my face is out there on the internet, and any I don't want any bad vibes, any bad
Sure.
publicity, anything bad. I don't want that in my life. At 42, I lived a dirty life for a long time when I was younger. I like to keep things positive and go like that.
You're
That's just how I am
42?
right now.
You're
At
42?
42.
You look
Yeah.
great for
You said
42.
you were I didn't think you were 40. You said you were
Yeah.
40. I'm like, I got you beat by 2 years, bro.
Bro, if you saw this dad bod that I hide below this screen here, you'd be like, yeah, he's a fat 40 fuck.
Hey man, it's never too late. You want to come and take a free class? I'll
I
hook you
know.
up.
I know,
I'm a
dude.
personal trainer too. If you need some extra help, I'm right there for you.
I want to talk about all that. I want to talk more about
Oh yeah,
the food. I want to talk about your MMA
please.
life. I know you just had a fight
Okay.
recently.
Yeah.
Um, but like I want to know more about who Brian DiMattei is. Like where are you from in EPA, northeastern Pennsylvania? Like did you grow up here? Like and you kind of alluded to maybe I don't know what you said if it's a scummy life or whatever you said a few minutes ago,
Mhm.
but like there's a story there, right? Um
Yeah. There's a
so
story. There's absolutely
and
a story
and
there.
I know that you kind of talked about it on Bill's podcast. I wanted to watch it and listen to it because I wanted to kind of have an idea of what we were getting into, but I didn't listen to it because I didn't want to know. I want to find out about who you are. And I felt like
Okay.
if I knew about it,
All right.
if I listened to it, I'd be like, oh well, I don't need to talk to you then because we've already done it. So tell me who Brian DiMattei is.
All right. Well, I grew up in NEPA. I was born and raised in Old Forge,
Okay.
pizza capital, pizza, the
You were
real
born for
pizza
this.
capital of the
You
world.
were born for this, yeah.
Born for this. New Haven, Connecticut is not the pizza capital of the world. It might be the New York style round pizza, thin round pizza capital of the world, but They're not the Old Forge pizza capital of the world. Anyways, that's where I grew up. I lived there, went to Old Forge High School. Had a normal childhood, good childhood. Then I started. Then I played football. I played sports, powerlifting, all that kind of stuff. Baseball, again, like pretty much normal stuff going on until
Normal
about
stuff. Yeah.
15, 16 years old. Yeah. And then, then one day in school after football season was over, somebody asked me if I wanted to go smoke pot at lunch. I'm like, yeah, sure. I got nothing else to do. I'll come smoke. I'll go smoke some pot at lunch behind Antonio's Pizza on Main Street, which is no longer there. This pizza. So you live in this area your whole life?
Yes. Yep.
Did you ever happen to go to Old Forge when you were younger? There was Antonio's Pizza across the street from Turkey Hill on Main Street. It used to be it's a Chinese restaurant now by Cologero's Pizza in that plaza.
So
Man,
I
this
grew up.
pizza.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, please.
No. I grew up in Hunlock Creek. I was a country boy. Like so.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
Okay.
I think
I
I
got you.
left that little town, to go to a Red Barons game once a year, or
The
maybe
Red
like once every
Barons.
3 years. Yeah. I mean, I went
Yeah.
to Knoebels, but like I up until like when I was in college, I really never got out much. I went outside going to the
Okay. All
mall
right. I
with my
understand.
parents. So
I
yeah,
got you. I
I was
got you.
I wouldn't say I was sheltered, but I
You're in
rode
the
my bike.
country.
Yeah, I rode my
You
bike to all my friends' houses. Like
Okay.
that's how
I got
that's how
you.
we rolled. So
I got
I'm
you.
not familiar with Old
So
Forge as a
that's
young
okay.
child.
So
I
this
am a little bit now, but
this place was man, it was like we grew up on this pizza. You go in there, the owner Mario, this Italian guy, he made these amazing Italian hoagies. We toast the bun, you get two slices and a hoagie, you know what I mean? So good. Anyways, so I smoked pot for the first time. I was like, oh, all right, I like this. I could do this for a little while. And then I continued to do that the rest of the off season of football. I ended up failing my freshman year of high school, so I had to repeat my freshman year.
damn.
But the outcome of that was I lost my senior year eligibility for football, so I couldn't play football my senior year. So here I am, freshman again, playing varsity football. I was a good football player too. I'm going to get to me wasting my talents in certain things. I was a good football player. Me and my friends were popping up 500-pound squats and deadlifts at 13, 14 years old. This is going back in the 90s.
Damn.
And we didn't lift all year around. It was like football, for some reason, like conditioning only needed to be done 3 months a year. I don't know what it was, but me and my friends were putting up serious weight in the weight room, playing good football. But now I just spent the last 7 months smoking pot and not being in shape and all this kind of stuff. And that's what I wanted to do. Play one more year of football. Then when I went out for my next year, me not being able to play my senior year was bothering me. We just wanted to hang out with my friends and not be part of that athletic life anymore. I don't want to do it no more. You know what I mean? I just wanted to hang out. I got my driver's license. I just wanted to drive around, smoke, party, go to school. I don't want to go to school. I hated school. Hated school. And
Not for everybody.
that wasn't for me. In my senior year, if my father was sick at the time, so we were getting he was on disability, he was a mailman, so we were getting X amount of dollars every month for me being in school still for the family. So like I wanted to quit school. If it wasn't for that, I would have quit school. And I graduated, barely graduated, and I just partied for like 4 or 5 years, hung out. I always worked, I always had a job. I was always somewhat financially responsible, you know what I mean? But didn't really have any direction. And then I decided when I was 22, I was going to go to college. 22 or 23. I think it was 22. I decided I was going to go to college. Um, I enrolled in Lackawanna College, and I needed to take remedial classes for a semester. I was so far out of high school, and I screwed up the assignment, the assessment test. I was like, couldn't do a fraction. You know what I mean? And it was just like, man, I was just so burned out. But I ended up doing the classes, getting into the remedial classes, doing a whole semester, the catch up on everything. And I graduated from Lackawanna College. Everything was going good. I was working. I don't know if you remember Old Forge Pizza Express. They were in
Oh,
Clark Summit. They were like a newer business. It's going back to like 2005. So we're going back almost 20 years. It was a new concept restaurant, Old Forge Pizza Express. These guys were going to bring Old Forge Pizza to the masses. Like they wanted to have franchises, and it was all hard baked pizza. And this was their idea. And I remember I was deciding to either go be a manager with them or go to Penn State to finish my degree. I graduated from Lackawanna College with an associate's in business, and I was flirting with going to Penn State to get my bachelor's degree or go work for these guys. I decided to go work for them. I also worked at Marvelous Mugs on the mountain for like a
Oh,
decade.
okay. Yeah.
Remember Marvelous Mugs?
Yeah.
Worked there for like a decade. Great place to work. Just had a falling out with me and my boss were like buddies, and we had a falling out with each other, and I just had to leave. And it was just unfortunate, but I worked there for a really long time. And then I got a new job here, a new job there. I ended up going to Penn State, but when I was going to Penn State, I started on a path that I didn't want to go down. So my life was normal at this time. My parents got divorced, and me and my brother were close. Life was just a normal life for like a 22, 23, 44-year-old. How exciting is it really at 22, 23? Well, for me, it wasn't that exciting. I go party, I work, go party, work, go party. You know what I mean? What was it back then? I played PlayStation 2, I think it was, some Tiger Woods golf on the PlayStation 2.
Sure.
But then my life really had no direction. I was going to college. I didn't really know what I really wanted to do. I thought me getting a marketing degree was going to be, when I get out of school, I'd have a job like the guys in, what was that job with the marketing? Mad Men. You ever see Mad Men?
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
So I thought I was gonna be like that, but
Sure.
it's not like that. It wasn't like that when I graduated. I barely graduated, but leading up to me graduating, I was at this one job, and there was more pills than there was food in this restaurant. Vicodins and all kind of painkillers, everything. The restaurant culture is a fun culture to work in. If you want to party and you're single, you're not married with no kids, you just want to go in, work, make really good money. I was making great money as a bartender. My God, I'm made more money waiting on tables and bartending than I made any other job I ever had. I had a couple of decent jobs, you know what I mean? But it was just such a fast life, and I couldn't escape it because you work till 2 in the morning, you're out, sleep until 2, and go do it again. You work in the restaurant business?
So I used to work at Bennigan's.
Oh, Bennigan's
in Wilkes-Barre.
In Clarkson.
Oh, Wilkes-Barre.
I'm not going to say any last names, but was one of your managers named Chad?
No, I don't think.
No, okay.
I was only there.
Regional. I think he was a regional manager for a while, but maybe not. When you were younger?
I was there for maybe 9 months, really, in 2005. So it was like my senior year of college, and then I graduated and I got a full-time job, and I was going to actually try and work there because, dude, I loved it. Working as a server, I mean, the money was
fun.
I would have made more money waiting tables than I did at my first full-time job.
I believe it.
But they were like, it's a conflict of interest because they were an I was working for the Weekender, and Bennigan's was an advertiser in the Weekender, so they're like, it's a conflict of interest. You can't do that. And I'm glad. I mean, everything worked out perfect because, like, I immersed myself into the Weekender. I was Johnny Weekender. I don't know if you know that or not, or if you remember that name.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was Johnny Weekender. People thought I owned the thing, and I wouldn't have been able to do that if I was working at Bennigan's, because a lot of the stuff I did was, promotional stuff for the Weekender. It was out at night, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And that's when you want to work with restaurants. You want to be making the tips on those nights.
Yeah,
so
absolutely,
it all worked out. But like, I encourage anyone to be a waiter or waitress. I started off as a host.
Yeah, me too. Dishwasher, everything like that.
And what's cool is, like, I mean, I feel like everyone should do that. You learn so much, just like eating the shit, like, and dealing with people, and like you just have a better appreciation for people who are seating you, people who are waiting on your table, and hey, you know what? If the food comes out wrong, it's not your waiters or waitress's fault. It could be anywhere. It could be the kitchen, it could be the cook, it should be the prep, it could be anything. Like, just chill. Like, they'll make it right. They'll make your food over again, whatever. But I mean, sorry to cut you off there. But no, yeah, I mean, I loved.
No, it's okay. That's where I get my feeling about not doing bad reviews, because I worked in the restaurant business so long. It's not just one person's fault if something goes wrong. So anyways, I'm working in the restaurant business still. I went to college to get out of the restaurant business, but I ended up graduating still in the restaurant business. I did everything, man. I'm a dishwasher, all the way to management. You know what I mean? I was a manager at this one restaurant for a while. It was an absolute disaster. Anyway, I'm getting off track real fast. So I'm just entering my I had 3 more semesters to go in college, and by this time, the restaurant culture that I got away. I was just drinking, and occasionally I would take pills and stuff like that. But then it turned into less drinking and more pills. A couple pills before the shift. Now it's pills before the shift, during the shift, after the shift, and it was
Can
actually turned into a disgusting life.
can I stop you right there real quick?
Please, yeah,
Why do you think? I mean, because I mean, I saw it. Like I was only there for 9 months, and I didn't see a lot. But like,
you saw enough.
yeah, I mean, and I was never involved in it, and I think people got that vibe from me that they never like offered it to me. I think they knew like, oh, he's a on the straight and narrow, or he's like, maybe
Okay,
he's a narc or something like that. Not to that level, but like
I know what you mean.
he just like he's not into this life. But you're right though, that the restaurant business has this stigma to it, or this like it, and maybe it is, the late hours. I always say nothing good happens after 2 a.m., but I mean, people are
No,
getting out of work at
it's
2 a.m. They're, meeting up at house parties afterwards. Like, it's a different
the house
lifestyle.
parties. Absolutely, it is a lifestyle, and
Yeah.
it's. I think it happens that way because the job is very stressful.
Hmm.
Can be very when you're busy and you're running 8 tables and this, that, and the other. It's a stressful job. If you're not good at it, it's a stressful job. I
Yeah.
was lucky enough to where now when I started serving, I was not my first lone table I waited on. I was carrying 2 beers, two bottles of beer. One went this way, one went that way on their laps. I had to go back to training for a few more days, but then I became a really good server. I'm just a slow. I'm a slow learner when it comes to stuff like that. I need more practice. I need more reps. You know what I mean? So became a really good server. Then I became a bartender, and then I switched jobs, and I'm working at another restaurant. And now I'm finished trying to finish up college, but now I'm a disaster. Now I am full blown Vicodin addict, and I need them. I want them. I don't want nothing to do with anybody else. All I want to do is eat these pills and work and finish school. But
Why
I
did you
slacked off on work.
why did you take them initially? I mean, was it just like, hey, like, dude, like this,
I
these are
took them
cool, or
initially. I used to was the feeling. It's the feeling. I took them when I was younger in high school and outside of high, but it was only once in a while. It wasn't every day. I never got physically addicted to them, and they also were harder to find in the early night late '90s, early 2000s. It was more like I remember like 2002, 2003. Oh, the OxyContin came around. You know that story, don't you?
yeah, I
So,
just watched
the
painkillers.
yeah, exactly. So, I mean, everything in that show and then the other one that was on Hulu,
Hmm.
um, 100% true. There was really no everything I watched, there was literally no exaggeration. I probably either lived part of some of those things or saw it with my own 2 eyes. The family going the mechanic
Yeah.
going from everything is great, great family, great kids, a really loving marriage, all that kind of stuff, and then he gets hurt, and then he's in pain, pain, pain. Then he gets better, but now the pains he went from not being in pain to getting hurt
Hmm.
to being in constant pain to finding a medication that made him feel better. He's able to live his life again, but the pain was gone. He was also high, so
Right.
the pain's gone, but now you have a euphoric feeling all the time. So here comes the pain back, and now the pills you're taking aren't lasting as long.
Right.
The euphoric feeling isn't there anymore. That's the main thing that personally for me was the euphoria wasn't there anymore. I wasn't in pain to begin with, but if I was in pain, I want the pain gone, but I want the euphoria. I bet if that was a real person, if he had to choose, hey, would you rather be in pain or would you rather not be in pain and normal, or would you rather be in a little bit of pain and high all day long? He's gonna at that point, he's gonna say, I want to be high all day long because you're
Yeah.
so addicted to them. Not everybody acts like that. I know people that don't like pills at all. My one friend got his knee operated on. Hey Rocco, he got his knee operated on. He got his ACL, all that kind of stuff, and he took the pills for a couple of days. He was done. He's like, I
Yeah.
don't want them anymore. He was a couple of Advils, and he's good to go. You know what I mean? I wasn't like that. I chased those things. I'm calling the doctor up. Hey, I got a cough. I get some codeine cough syrup. again, things were easier again 20 years ago, but that's just the life I lived. And the Vicodins
But
gave me that
you
euphoric
took them
feelings.
and didn't even need them initially.
No, I took them. I took them for recreational use.
Right. And what was that like? I mean,
Absolutely.
I've like,
Those. Um,
can you describe that? Like what the feeling, that euphoria, what the euphoric feeling is?
if you, if, yeah, you broke up there for a second, but I get your question. Now I'm just going to go right into it. Um, it's hard to explain how uh, how you
If you
feel
don't want
off
to,
it.
that's fine.
Everything's in like everything's. No. I'm trying to figure out the best way to explain it. The best way to explain this, everything that you enjoy doing, like this podcast, for instance, you probably love doing this podcast,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
It enhances everything. It'll make this even more enjoyable for you if you got that feeling of it. Not everyone gets that feeling of it, but
Right.
I used to. A lot of people I know used to. It just and the best way I can explain it enhances everything. You feel differently. If you're a cigarette, I used to be a cigarette smoker. My cigarettes would taste a million times better. So I would
Yeah.
chain smoke on them too. I quit smoking 4 years ago. Anyone that's smoking out there, quit.
Hmm.
Quit. Your body will thank you for it.
Yeah.
I smoked Newport Box for 25 years.
Damn,
25
dude.
years I Newports for.
Newports.
Yep. 25 years. I finally quit. Newports,
Damn.
the Kings, baby.
Yeah. Damn.
Menthols were good. But that's the best way I could explain it was, well, now there's other drugs too I used to do. I don't know if you ever hear of like MD, ecstasy, or they call it some other different names.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
I've
ever hear
heard
of
that.
those before? All right.
Yeah.
So people ask me, what's ecstasy like? The only way I could explain it to them was like, it's like God on your shoulder telling you to have a good time. That's what that feels like. So I didn't do a lot. I didn't do a lot of that, but because that was just a crazy nights. But um, for me, it was the Vicodin, and my underlying addiction was the Xanax. There's a movie on Netflix called, I think it's called Xanax. I
Hmm.
don't know if you ever came across that or
I don't
not,
think
but
so.
that's an amazing story too. I was prescribed those in my early 20s for anxiety. I went to the doctor to seek them out because I used to take them once in a while to do schoolwork. I would take a couple of Xanax and I'd be relaxed. I'd be able to do my school reports. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So again, I always chase those feelings. I always chase those downer feelings, those relaxed feelings. And there was just something about it that's turned me on. I love feeling that way. So I love sitting home and watching TV and doing it. But then I got addicted to them. Then I started getting sick if I didn't have them. So I didn't know what that feeling was. Called one of my friends, explained it to him. He told me I was addicted to them. I was dope sick. I'm like, I'm not doing them. I'm doing Vicodin. It's like it's the same thing. So my solution to that was instead of not doing them anymore, I'll make sure I never run out of them anymore. And that was my new mission in life, to never run out of painkillers or anything else that I was taking. And I would detox myself from them for weeks at a time, but I wasn't doing a program. I wasn't going to AA or anything like that. So I didn't know how to stop them. And it just progressed. It progressed. I was taking 25, 30 Vicodin a day. It was an extremely expensive habit. It was disgusting.
Yeah.
And the reason why I never took Oxycontin, because when I was younger, I had a bad reaction to an Oxycontin. I took like an 80 milligram when I was sick for 2 days. So you ever like eat food and get sick and never want to see that food ever again?
Food, no. Alcohol, yeah.
All right. So I've experienced it. I've experienced my last beverage before I got sober was tequila, but I got sick off
That's the
Percetta
one.
once.
That's the one.
I need Percetta for a decade.
Oh,
Tequila? Yeah, don't blame you. I got sick off Percetta once. I didn't eat it for like 15 years. Barbecue ribs I ate. I had mono for 3 months. I didn't eat barbecue sauce or ribs for probably 20 years.
oh man.
So I had that same association with that Oxycontin. So I didn't go near them. My life would have been cheaper, but the next step would have been heroin. And I was blessed enough in my life. And I remember telling Bill this on his podcast was I was lucky that I personally was never introduced or around heroin because I eventually would have taken it and I eventually probably would have died. There's no question. I strongly believe that. I actually get a little pit in my stomach thinking about that because the way I did things, I just would have kept on taking it. I probably would have overdosed on it. I'm just lucky that I was here. I'm here still.
Well,
So staying on track. Reel me in if you have to.
well, no,
Reel me
that's
in if you
like
have to.
that's
Okay.
I guess that's like the next step, right? And I was like, what's it like, constantly chasing that high and like, you said you had to
It's
like constantly
exhausting.
get Yeah, I mean, I can't like I watch Intervention and shit like that, and I see these people
It's
like,
just like that, bro. There's no bullshit on those shows. It's
yeah, I
just
mean,
like
I,
that. It's
I
insane. It's fucking insane.
yeah, it's like it's crazy to think about, really. I mean, I I, I don't know how people. I mean, you're so focused on just getting high so you don't get sick, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, people eventually get to the well, I gotta I'll take whatever I can get. In this case, you're saying heroin was probably the next step. How come it never got to
It's probably the next step.
that extent?
It's it's actually a messed up story how I never got there. I was going to buy pills off my guy normally, like I always do, driving to like the Dorrance. I don't forget where like the Dorrance exit on 81. It was like 40 miles for me to drive, and I'm driving sick, miserable. Just want to get these things as soon as possible, right? So I meet my guy off the exit, and instead of giving me the Vicodins or other pills he had given me, he gave me Suboxone. Now, Suboxone, I'm not sure if you know what it is or not, but Suboxone is what they give to addicts coming off of heroin.
Off,
It's an
yeah,
opiate blocker. It
right.
blocks the opiates. So he goes, listen, bro, I can't sell you these Vicodins anymore. You're taking way too many of them. So either he was one looking out for me, which I doubt, or two, his new drug of selling now was the Suboxone. So he gave me one to try. And I remember I swallowed the first one and I was pissed off about it. It's just you're supposed to put it under your tongue. And he told me that. So I tried the rest of it that I had, put under my tongue, and I felt like I just took Vicodin for the first time. So I took a little piece. The pill's about that big, about the size of a dime.
Hmm.
And I took a quarter of a quarter. And I was high off of that for about 7, 8 hours. And I couldn't believe it.
So that gets you high.
I was it got me, I've heard other people, a lot of people that are on heroin, they told I've never had anyone tell me they got high off them before when they were detoxing off of heroin. I wasn't coming off of heroin.
Right.
I was coming off oxycodone, hydrocodone. You know what I mean? I wasn't even coming off of, well, Oxycontin is all those things, but I was just, whatever it was, it worked for me. It got me high. A lot of my friends were getting high off them too. So it was getting me high. So now I went from spending $100 a day just to not get sick. At this point, it's $100 a day habit to just not get sick. I want to touch on something earlier. When you start taking it in the beginning, it's cheap, it's fun, you're waking up normal. You actually wake up in a euphoric feeling because your body has all this in the system. So you feel really good. Then you go a couple of days, you do it again. Now, a lot of people go, now, when I was younger, I was able to do it on a Friday night and never see them again for a couple of weeks. I didn't think about them. But if I did them when I was younger, if I did them Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, Tuesday, I might be thinking about them a little bit because I just had 4 days on them now. And now I want to keep that going. But I didn't do
Right.
that when I was younger. I did it when I was older. So it gets to the point in the beginning, it's cheap. They're around. You buy a bunch of them. They last you a couple of weeks. But now every week you keep doing it, your body needs more of it. So now your body needs more, and that euphoric feeling lowers. And we're always chasing the euphoric feeling. Just like when people say you do the first line of cocaine, you're constant. The rest of the night, you're chasing that first line of cocaine. I never really got into that too much. I did them a couple of times, but that wasn't really my thing. But it was like that, though. You do the first one, often eat that, aren't as good. Everyone's a little less than the top one. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
It's weird how that happens. And it was just so continuing on. Now he gives me, the drug dealer gives me these Suboxone instead of the Vicodins. So now everything has changed for me. Now I'm buying 20, 30 of them off of him at like $15 a clip, but they're lasting me 2 months instead of me spending, you know, thousands of dollars just to not get sick. Now I'm getting high. But just like the other ones, the tolerance level for them went up and the euphoric feeling went down. I went from taking a quarter to a half to a full one every day, to the point where I was taking 2 of them a day. So that, and it actually leveled my life out a little bit because it wasn't as chaotic trying to find the pills every day, being sick. I would take a little bit all the time. I wasn't high off the Vicodins every day. I was high off the Suboxones every day for a year because that's what they were doing to me. I did them all day long. Um, but then I wake up one morning. Well, I finally graduated. We'll stay in the college story real fast. There's not much to it. I finally graduated college in like 2008, but by then I spent my last 2 semesters just getting by with C's and B's instead of A's and B's like I was normally getting. And I didn't take it seriously. I didn't do the right internship. I totally messed up my college career. I got my bachelor's degree, but it's hanging on the wall over there. But I mean, that's all I see of it. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad I went to college. I'm glad I graduated. I'm glad I took a lot of classes that I did. But I could have been so much more. I could have really used it for what the purpose of it was for. You know what I mean? But where I am now in my life, we'll get to later on. I'm happy with that. So graduated college. I was a mess. Finally got off the Vicodin. Now I'm eating the Suboxone, and they stopped working one morning. I wake up one morning, they stopped working. They stopped getting me that euphoric feeling that I was getting. I got nothing from it. So now I have a Suboxone problem, and I'm not getting high off of it. It's like being an alcoholic and not getting drunk. You know what I mean?
Right.
You still need the alcohol every day, but you're not gonna get drunk off it though. You won't get sick, but you won't get drunk off it either. It's like torture.
That's terrible.
So for me it was absolutely terrible. I didn't know do it myself because I never knew the reason why. I used to always stop taking the Vicodins or whatever for a couple of weeks, get sick for a day or two, and then be normal for a couple of weeks. But the reason why I couldn't stop it completely, I didn't know how to live a normal life anymore. I always lived a life of being fucked up. It's like an alcoholic.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's just a different drug. You know what I mean? Alcohol is worse. I went to AA. I'll get to that. But when I was in AA, the alcoholics and the heroin addicts, the alcoholics were here. The heroin addicts were underneath them. The alcoholics were having the roughest time. You
Yeah.
know why? One of the biggest reasons is because they could leave that meeting, go down the street, and go to the bar.
Right.
As a heroin addict in recovery, it's hard for you to walk on the street and get a bag of heroin. Well, maybe not, but you know what I'm trying to
It's a
say.
little
You know
harder.
what
I
I'm
mean,
trying to say.
alcohol is
Yeah,
legal, right? It's like,
yeah.
it's
It's socially acceptable when it's the worst drug on the planet.
yeah.
I believe it's the worst. I believe it's one of the worst drugs on the planet. So I went from so now the Suboxone stopped working. What was I doing in my life right now? Graduated college. I was working for Darden Restaurants for Red Lobster in a management program with them, and working at the one in Wilkes-Barre. It was a good job. I made good money. It's funny, as I told you earlier, I wanted to go to college get out of the restaurant business, but I jerked around in college so much. I couldn't do accounting. I didn't take accounting 1 and 2 seriously. My teacher was a jerk off. He didn't make us do anything, gave us all A's. He did me a favor then, but he didn't do me a favor when I graduated. I couldn't
Right.
go for my master's degree when I was older because I can't do accounting 1 and accounting 2 because he didn't teach us it. He just jerked around in class and gave us A's, and nobody in the class, 30 people in the class for 2 semesters, never told anybody in the school. So it was just like, so stuff like that led me to being like, okay, I know the restaurant business. I'm good at the restaurant business. I do want to get into management. So I stay in the restaurant business for a little while longer. So I worked for Darden Restaurants. Right until now with the Suboxone not working, somebody offered me, when one thing's not working in your life, somebody put something else in your life, whether it's God or the devil,
Hmm.
somebody put something into your life. And the devil dropped Adderall on my lap. Are you familiar
Hmm.
with Adderall?
Yeah. I mean, I've never dabbled. I mean,
But you know what it is, though.
yes. Yeah.
Okay. So people that are listening that don't, Adderall is medication for people with ADHD. But if you don't have ADHD, it's like taking speed. It's like taking meth. It's like over the counter, legal methamphetamine. That's what Adderall is. That's the way he treated me. So now I went from taking downers all the time and being relaxed to going 4
Right on.
million miles an hour every day. It
What was
was
that like?
absolutely insane. It was absolutely insane. In the beginning, it was fun because, again, new drug, new tolerance for the body, take a little bit, feel great. It was like doing cocaine with no come down. The reason why I didn't like doing cocaine when I was younger, because the come down off it was you'd be laying in bed, it was a nightmare. Hours of trying to fall asleep, your nose is hurting you, you get nosebleeds. It wasn't fun. That coming down from that wasn't fun. So that's why I didn't do it a lot, luckily, because it was fun, but the come down wasn't worth it. And but Adderall, there was no come down. You just go to sleep and wake up and do it all over again.
Was there
And
was there anyone
I
around you like that saw this behavior? They know you as like the chill guy to like, all right, we're gonna do Adderall now, and you're at a different level, and they're like, yo,
yeah,
Brian. Brian,
my normal,
what's going on?
absolutely, my normal friends. But so a lot of my circle now were, friends, like people I grew up with, and we all party, we all did stupid shit back in the day, but they got out of it. I got more into it. They were into that scene when I wasn't into that scene. Like in my
Mhm.
early 20s, I had a steady relationship, all this kind of stuff. I was starting school. Things were normal for me while they were partying. And that was fine. I go with them once. I was like a weekend warrior with them once. Right? I always worked in the restaurant business, so I had to work the weekends. You know what I mean? And they grew out of it. They got families and stuff like that. I was just growing into it, and a few of my good friends, they saw it. They knew what was going on. My one friend, he went for the ride with me, so it was me and him doing it together. And Adderall just makes you. I was so focused on everything I was doing. It enhanced everything. Super focused, but I got carried away with it. I couldn't just do it for a night. People at work were doing it for a shift. I started doing it at work. It's like I was doing the other stuff, and I'm waiting on tables on the Adderall, and things were really great. I used to have to tell. I used to have to tell. I talk fast enough the way it is. I'm sure you could already tell. I used to have to tell tables that, oh, I just pounded a double espresso in the back, and then I got the table. I'm so sorry. People would tell me, "Why don't you come back in 5 minutes?" You know what I mean? It's hysterical. And
Yeah, but now
so I was doing
you're so focused now. Like you're like everyone's like saying their order. You're not even writing it down now. You're just memorizing it.
super
Yeah.
focused, super speedy. I want to go a million miles an hour. I don't want to sit down. So I lived that fucking insane life for, I don't know, how long was it? Probably probably 2 3 years. I no Adderall, no. The Adderall was like a year and a half because it got out of control really, really fast. So from like 2012 to about 2011, 2012, 2014, my life was normal. And I was doing the Suboxone. Don't get me wrong, that's not normal, but
Right.
my life wasn't chaotic from my standpoint. It wasn't chaotic like it was for a couple of years. So I was a steady job, working my way through the program for Darden and making my way up to management with them. And then the Adderall came in. So now I'm screwing up. I'm at work. I would stay up. The worst thing was I had no chill with it. I couldn't do it for a night. I would do it until they were gone. 3 4. I'd be up. I'd be awake for 3 to 4 days at a time.
Wow.
Then I would spend one day sleeping. Then I would spend the next day after waking up wanting to kill myself for a few hours until my brain got normal again. And then the Adderall was gone for about 10 days. There was like a desert in town. There was no Adderall for 10 days. Everyone's prescriptions were all lined up at the same time or something like that. You know what I mean? And I wasn't going to the doctor to get my own because the last thing I wanted to do was let anyone know what I was doing them. You know what I mean? So for
Right.
about 10 days, my life would be normal again. I would go to the gym a couple of days a week. I would tell everyone, listen, don't call me the first of the month. I don't want any more of those Adderall. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Don't come to my house. But the first of the month, they're at my doorstep, and I couldn't say no. So that sucked. I had no willpower. I had no desire to really, really stop. I just needed to be removed from the situation, and that's what we're going to get to eventually here. Um, so that was just constantly insane. Like I didn't really have a normal. Like I wish I was telling you a different story right now. You want to know who I am? Like this is who I was for
Well, it's all part of
10
the
years.
it's all part
Yeah,
of the
for like 10
process
years.
though. It got you whatever happened to you, whether good, bad, ugly. It's part of your life and it is part of who you are now. And
Right.
there's a lot to be said about that. What year were these Adderall years?
This is 2000 and late 2013 and like 2014 and 15.
Okay.
14 and 15. That's when it was. That's when it was.
Okay.
Um, so I was working for like I was. I'm years out of college, and my life's just not. Finally moved out of my parents' house, my mother's house when I was like after college. Um, I was 20, 26, 27 when I graduated college. I lived at home. I was whatever. I didn't care. I had
They
a good
stay at home
setup
till
there.
the people stay at home till
Yeah,
they're
I'm
30 now.
Italian. I can't leave my Italian mother
You
home
can't
alone.
leave.
You know what I
Yeah, she
mean?
would cry.
Jeez,
Fuck.
She's like, "Why do you want to move out?" I'm like, "Ma, it's nothing to do with you. Is it me? I don't bother you." I'm like, "You don't bother me at all." It was great. It was just time for me to move out. You know what I mean? The reason I didn't move out earlier is because I was too busy buying. I could have bought a house. The
Right.
amount of Viking that I bought, I could have bought a house. I was too busy doing that. I want to pay rent.
Which is so
So
insane to think about, right? Like I'm sure
it is
there's
insane,
there's been
man.
times in your life and currently you're like, man, And I hopefully don't get too caught up in it. It's the past is the past, right? But it's like, people who smoke cigarettes, a pack a day, whatever, and they quit and they see how much money they save per month.
It's
But
a
like,
car payment, bro. It's a
yeah,
car
you're
payment.
saying $100 a day. Like that's
Yeah,
insane.
absolutely insane. And I was making the money to pay for it. It was just absolutely insane. And I had nothing to show for it. And here I am now. I finally got my own place. Things are going well. But now the Adderall came to my life, and the Adderall ate my soul away. I had a really good eBay business. I was selling. I would go to the yard sales, the flea markets, resell. One of my biggest things was wrestling figures.
Mhm.
I was a really good reseller, and I made a lot of money. But as I was building that business and making a lot of money, I got deeper into the Adderall, and just I just spent money on the Adderall. I wasn't doing things well enough, and I wasn't shipping stuff. I would sell 20 things in 2 days while I was high on the Adderall, have everything ready to go and ship. But now I'm spending 2 days on the couch because I don't want to get up. I'm coming down off of them. And I got to ship these things. People are emailing, asking me for refunds and stuff like that. So I fucked up that business. I'd have a wrestling empire right now. If a resale wrestling empire, especially the way baseball cards and stuff are now. My brother makes a fortune selling baseball cards. And that could have been something I could have got into, but it wasn't meant to be. I messed it up, but it's also something that's right there in front of us that I could do right now if I really wanted to. You know what
Right.
I mean? And then finally, you know what? Finally, I got put down. I quit my job at Red Lobsters. I was messing up. I just quit one day. I got a job at the casino as a dealer, like I was telling you earlier when we were talking before we started the show. I got the job as a dealer. I was working nights, and my mother was working there with me. I was coming in there a mess, and you kind of like blend in a little bit in that atmosphere, but not with your coworkers. You're not with your coworkers. Like they knew what was going on. I come in there, I'd be awake for 3 days. I don't know how I never messed up there, how I never passed out at the table. Because I
Hmm.
used to pass out everywhere in my life. I used to pass out in my car, used to pass out on the floor of my apartment with my car running in the driveway. I would get up like it was nothing. I would get up and be like, where's my wallet? Where's my keys? Oh, more Adderall in my pocket. Let me eat those. Let me go turn the car off outside. My life was absolutely fucking insane on these things. Absolutely insane for a good. They were really, really bad for about 3 to 4 months. That's when I finally got put down. The one morning I decided I go up to Mount Airy and get a room, Mount Airy Casino, get a room. I'm up for about 3, 4 days, drinking tequila at the bar, doing shots, and I blacked out. Came out of the blackout, surrounded by security. Person I was with was sleeping. They're going to drive me home when they woke up. They're like, "You should know better. You hold a gaming license. You're never allowed back in here ever again." I went right back into my blackout. I remember like maybe very small segments of this whole incident I'm going to tell you about. But then when I go back home, going back home to my neighborhood where I live, you know what I mean? I grew up in this neighborhood. I grew up the street, lived there for 18 years. Then I moved across town, which is about a mile and a half in Old Forge, across town.
Yeah.
I lived up there for a little while. Then I moved back into the old neighborhood. I moved back into my friend Rocco's old apartment that his mother owned, who was like a second mother to me. I knew her my whole life. She was my landlord. And I went, instead of going back home to my apartment, I went to my other neighbor's house, who is a cop in Old Forge.
Hmm.
And my other neighbors watching me do this. I walked into her shed in the backyard and I took stuff out of it. Then I tried getting into her house with my key. I remember my holding my Eagle key, trying to get into her door and saying, "Why isn't my key working for my place?" The other neighbor behind me, who I knew my whole life, was watching me do this. Heard everything. She's a little old lady. Heard everything. There's a car in the driveway, and I thought there was two. I was talking with these two kids. The kids weren't even there. I sat in the car for some reason. I was hallucinating the kids being there. Um, I'm almost certain I was at my old aunt's house on Main Street in Old Forge before I was at my house. I remember like standing in like the front yard. It's like my friend told me days later that drove me home that you got out of I stopped to get gas and you got out of the car, you were gone. So I had to walk home. That was why I walked home. And on the way home is my aunt's old house on Main Street in Old Forge. I'm almost certain I was standing in the front in the bushes. I can really remember doing that. So
Man.
I'm yelling. I'm talking to kids that aren't there. and I'm doing this, doing that. Well, I ended up getting arrested by my neighbor for, and before that, she arrested me walking up the street. I was carrying a Yankee garbage can with bath mats in it that I took from my landlord's basement that I was allowed to go down. I did my laundry down there. Again, my landlord was my friend's mother, who I knew my whole life, 30 some years. You know what I mean? Was down there, lived in that house. So I must have took those from the basement, did everything else that I did. So I got arrested for, well, the first charges were burglary, stealing the bath mats and the Yankee garbage can. But that one got dropped because I didn't really, she didn't press charges on me. But the other ones were felony criminal trespasses. That's a nice mug. Felony criminal trespasses. Very nice. I need to get some more merch from my food page. Discussion later on.
Yeah.
But I ended up getting felony criminal trespassing, like 2-3 counts, public drunkenness, this, that, and the other. The burglary was actually the lead charge. They didn't get the charges dropped until after I got out on bail. So that was like the lead charge going into my bail hearing. You know what I mean? Because we couldn't get in contact with her. But you know, by then it didn't matter, man. I was in the back of the police car. They brought me to the police station. And this is a town I grew up in. I knew the chief of police. I played football with him and stuff like that. He's like, what the hell's going on with you? You've never been in trouble before. You had your bullshit around town, but that's just bullshit around town. Like everybody has. What's going on? And I broke down. And I said, I need fucking help. I'm fucking done. I can't live this life anymore. I need help. Just please help me. I was done. That was me, rock bottom. I couldn't go any lower because 3 months before that, I got a DUI. I passed out leaving Toys R Us in Wilkes-Barre. And I don't know how I made my way back, but I ended up smashing into the lamp factory, the pole, like in the parking lot there. You know where I mean over there?
Yeah.
315. So I don't remember any of that. I just remember being in the hospital, handcuffed, and the police unhandcuffed me, and they said, we'll be in touch. And my mother came to pick me up, and she's sitting there, and I'm like, oh, my, I'm just tired from working at the casino. I just started working like the grave shift, like 8:30 at night to 6 in the morning, whatever. My sleep was a disaster. So it was easy for me to blame that.
Sure.
And instead of me to say, Mom, I need help. And I could have stopped it right there. And but I didn't. I just lived the lie I was still living. And I finally got put down. So now I'm in the police station, I'm getting all these charges, and I'm starting to come to a little bit, but I'm still kind of fucking insane a little bit too. I didn't sleep in days. I'm dehydrated. Everything going on it was just rough. And just going through the motions of being handcuffed to the thing, doing this, doing that. They wouldn't even let me take a piss, you know what I mean? Then they bring me to the courthouse, and I get arraigned in front of the judge, and she's talking about something, and she's like, she gives me my bail. She's like 5,000 straight bail. I don't even know what that means. She asked me, "Do you understand what's going on?" I go, "No, I have no idea what's going on right now. No idea what's going on. Right now. My lawyer couldn't make it there in time. It was a disaster." So now they bring me to the basement. The sheriffs are pushing me around, making sure I'm not doing anything stupid. Like, what are you going to detox on? What drugs are you on? I go, honestly, I'm just on Xanax. I go, my underlying addiction at the time was Xanax. I was on Xanax for a very long time, 3-4 milligrams a day. I abused the shit out of Xanax, but I was prescribed them. I was on them for about 12 years. So I'll get to that when I get to the next part of the story. So I'm telling them that, like, I'm just like, listen, I'm not a heroin addict. I'm not this, I'm not that. And I didn't even know what was going on. They're pushing me. It was an awful experience that I needed to go through. I needed to experience it because I remembered that like it was yesterday. Then they put me in the truck in the parking lot. There's 8 of us. There's 4 here and 4 there. We're all cuffed up, hands cuffed up on our feet. And we're staring out the cage. And again, I got no idea what's going on. These guys are, who knows who I'm sitting next to in the truck, things they're fucking talking about, things they did. No remorse from some of these people. Like, I was already in the stage of like, I'm gonna have to pay for this. Like, what the hell is going on right now? I didn't fully understand what was going on, but I knew I didn't want to be where I was.
Sure.
And they bring us into the Lackawanna County Prison. And the first person I see is this girl Stephanie I grew up with. She was one of the sheriffs. And she's just like, looked at me. I just looked like what the fuck? Like, this is where am I really here right now? Things started really coming to now. And then they bring you into the room and they strip you down. They make you bend over, do all that stuff you see in the movies. You know what I mean? And they put me in the orange jumpsuit and they threw me in a cell on the bottom floor before they bring me upstairs. And like, you want food? I'm like, sure, I'll take some food. Then the time the food came, I was passed out. I wake up, the other guy's in the cell with me. He's tweaking out. He's freaking out. And I'm just like, oh my God. And I'm a big guy. I'm usually like, I feel like I'm a big guy sometimes. But I was so weak at that time in my life because I wasn't eating. I was barely eating at all. I wasn't working out at all. I wasn't sleeping. I was like a shell of myself. I couldn't I couldn't push over a feather if I tried, probably. I was so weak. I would have got my ass handed to me in that place if things got out of control, you know?
Yeah.
So I make my phone call, I call my mother, and she goes like, listen, I'll bail you out, but you're going to rehab. I go, please. I showed with the rehab months ago. Please. I was done. I was ready to get better. You know, I was ready to do whatever I needed to do to get my life back on track. There was no if, ands, or buts if I was going to do it or not. I know I didn't have a choice, you know? It's like they bring us up to the cell. I'm in the cell by myself for about almost a full day. It took almost about 13 hours, 14 hours to get my bail to come through. I finally got out the next night. But the whole time I'm in jail, I'm like, man, I got to get out of here ASAP. I have work. I have to go to work. You know, I mean, I can't call off of work. I go to work. Not knowing that my gaming license was pulled already. I got suspended because I got a felony charge and everything's connected, you know?
Right.
And I get out of jail finally. My mother, my aunt picked me up. They're crying. I'm crying. And I go to rehab 3 days. I lied to move back home with my mother at 30, 35, 34 years old. I had moved back in with my mother after I just moved out like 5 years ago. And I got moved back in with my mother. Thank God for my mother, because if she wasn't around, we wouldn't be talking right now, you
Yeah.
know? And, you know, I went to rehab 3 days later. I went to Clearbrook. I was there for about 28 days, 29 days. And, you know, my counselor, Kevin, saved my life up there. You know, he was a great guy. He had a really good backstory and like things he went through. And he was the right person at the right time for me. I came out sober. I spent the whole summer going to AA. So then it was time for me to, you know, to pay for the things that I've done. And I was lucky enough I got charged with my DUI in Luzerne County. I got 5 months probation. I lost my license for a year. The judge didn't put me on house arrest or anything like that because I went to rehab and he thought I was getting my life back on track. He knew about the stuff going on in Lackawanna County. So I lost my license and, you know, I lost my license maybe about 6 months after I got sober. But first, I had to deal with Lackawanna County, and I spent the summer getting sober. I don't know if you're familiar with treatment court. What treatment court is in Lackawanna County, Luzerne County.
No.
All right, so Judge Barace in Lackawanna County, he runs drug court, where if you are a non-violent offender, like you know things that I did, high, drunk, all that kind of stuff, they give you a chance. You plead. So I pled guilty to all my charges, and I gave up all my rights to Judge Barace, and they put me on a program that kept me out of jail, and they gave me the opportunity to get my record, to get my charges dismissed, and to eventually get my record expunged. Like it never happened. So I said, yeah, absolutely, sign me up. Now, when I said that to my lawyer, I'm like, I didn't realize like what it was going to entail. You know what I mean? But you know, I wasn't in jail. I wasn't going to go back to jail unless I fucked up. You know. So basically, I was on probation for 2 years, 18 months. I did the program for 19 months. I had to do drug tests. I had to call up every morning. I had to call Lackawanna County probation every morning and listen to the colors they rep. They rep out 3 different colors: yellow, blue. My color was pink. So if they said pink, I had to go in for a drug test that morning before 8:30 a.m. I had to go do that. That was probably on average at least once a week I had to go, but that was a pain in the ass,
Sure.
especially when I lost my license. My mother had to drive me there at that early in the morning. But I got on treatment court. I had the opportunity. I had to take drug tests. I had to see counselors. You have to see the judge every couple of weeks, and you go through phases in the program where they trust you a little bit more, little less work. And then finally, I was able to get my charges dismissed, and I was able to, you know, get my license back, and I was able to buy a new car. It was just things started to get better for me, but it all started when I started going to AA that summer. Now, I don't go to AA anymore. I went to AA for about 4.5 years. I decided to separate AA from my sobriety, and I'd be able to do it. I felt very strongly about that, and that was, you know, almost 5 years ago. So, AA, I would recommend AA to anyone as the number one thing you should do to get sober. There's nothing before that. Obviously, stop doing what you're doing, but you need AA. AA, just the principles alone. If you could call it anything else you want, call it Recovery Group 101 or guys watching football talking about this 101. Whatever you guys talk about, if you work those principles, in AA, they are principles that you can live for by your life. They really, really are. It's really plain and simple. Like, just you got to let go of all your resentments. You have to work every day just to get better. Like, every day, I struggled every single day to stay sober. I wanted to just walk down the street to the bar, and I wasn't
Yeah.
even much of a drinker. I wasn't much of a drinker, but I just wanted to walk down the street to the bar or go get this or go get that. But I decided to. I can't do that. I don't want to go to jail. The thought of going to prison was enough for me to get better. That's it. There was
Right.
no there was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There was one day, which I'll get to in a minute, that where I almost skipped town and didn't want to come back. But I ended up making the right. I'll tell the story real quick. I ended up getting in my Honda got smashed right as I got sober. My Honda got smashed, and some guy ran a stop sign and this fucking almost killed me. You know what I mean? And this is a really important story. Remember when I woke up, I had the glass in my arm, but I got knocked out. And when I got out of the car, I remember I went to the hospital. I'm laying in the bed. I'm like, why the fuck am I still here? What reason am I still here? I go, I'm a piece of shit. I spent the last 10 years of my life living like trash, wasted school, wasted money, wasted this, wasted that. I go, why did this guy just finish me off? Right. And the answer came right to me immediately. I'm like, I go, you're still alive because you were wasting your life for that long. Now it's your time to enjoy and live the life that you were given. Because not everyone's given life, and everyone loses life when they're younger. Like, I'm still here, and
Hmm.
I'm not here to to split the atom or reinvent this or do this or be that or be that. I'm just here to take advantage of the life that I was lucky enough to still have after everything I went through. But that was the moment where, like, the NAA, they call the God moment. That was my moment where I was like, this is why I'm still here. And ever since that day, I appreciate every day that I'm alive. Not every day is great, you know what I mean? But
Sure.
I can
but
always find something to stay positive about.
but you were given a second chance, essentially, right?
Yeah.
And
Again, like
to
within a
recognize,
few
but to
months, I was given
recognize
like
that,
two, three chances.
yeah, but to recognize that, and I think being able to share these stories and share these experiences, for whoever's watching, listening, for however many times you share these things, like people like can realize there is or there can be a light at the end of the tunnel. There can be a second chance. There can be, like, their lives don't have to be this rat race to find the next pill or drug or whatever it might be. Like, there's help if you need it. There are these things that, like, I can't I wish well, I'm glad I never had to experience it, right? Like, I can't imagine what that life is like. It sounds, like you said before, chaotic. You don't know if you're coming or going. It's
Same, man.
but to be able to and you said you were there for almost a month, right? And you're able
In
to
rehab,
rehab, come out of
yeah,
that, and then you did AA for 4 years. It's a
for
long
years,
time.
yeah. Hmm.
Um, there's so many people that it takes 90 days. It takes a year, or they get out, they relapse, they go back in and relapse, and it's just this vicious cycle.
I
um
got a theory on that. I got a theory on
go
that.
ahead, what's that? I mean,
You want to hear it?
well, first of all, I'm glad that it only took you the 30 days, but what's your theory on what that
Well,
is?
it was just, but see, it was just the 30 days just to be away from everything. You know what I mean? I
Hmm.
needed to detox my. I believe now. I never bought into I never bought into addictions and disease. I just I never personally bought into it. And I lived it. So no one can tell me that, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. I fucking know what I'm talking about. All right. I needed to be removed from the situation just for a little while to get my brain and my body right. Well, my body right more than my brain, because my brain took some time to get better. You get that feeling you want to get high, you know what I mean? Now you have to want to get sober. I
Hmm.
live this model now. You have, if you want to do something, you have to want to do it. You
Right.
have to, yeah, you have to want to do. I had to lose 10 pounds for my jiu-jitsu match last month. I was like, okay, finally, I got 10 weeks. I can lose a pound a week. I want to do it. Now, I had to do it because of the weight class, but I want to do the competition So I
Right.
have to make the weight. It's part of it. And I just did it. I still ate pizza. I just have to do it right. Now I didn't eat everything I wanted to eat. There were some nights where I'd be like, I really want this, really want that, but I just had to take it easy and just make it to bed. But I wanted to do that. I wanted to get sober. Now, did I want to get sober because I don't want to go to jail? Yeah, that was my reason.
Sure.
People need to get sober for their families. I can't think of anything more important than getting sober than for your family, for your wife and your kids.
Yeah.
Forget not even so much your wife, of course, but your kid.
Mhm.
Most importantly, if you don't get sober for your kid, you continue doing what you're doing. I personally believe, and people might shit on me for it, but you just didn't want to stop.
No,
You
you're
chose the drug over your kid. If
yeah.
your body's detoxed off it and you're working a program and you're keeping your mind sharp, now, don't get me wrong, the mind's a very powerful thing. It can play tricks on you, but you have to just want to be like, no, so I want to do that, but I'm not going to because I want to be here tomorrow morning for my kid. So what's the stronger one? Do you want to stay sober? Do you want to stay your kid, or do you want to go get high? And
Yeah.
a lot of people choose to go get high. The second, third, fourth rehab trip, people
Yeah.
just don't get better. And heroin addicts have it worse because they get sober one, two, three, four times. They come out of rehab. They stay the longer they stay sober and then relapse, the better the chance of overdosing is because they're away from it so long. And
Yeah.
they think that they're so powerful that they go right back to the same dose that they would normally do.
Right.
That's why people overdose most of the time. It's it's a fucked up cycle, man. It really is. It really
It's
is.
it's unfortunate that, that these drugs exist. Um, there's advocates for, legalizing a lot of different drugs because um, you know, they'll be more regulated.
Oh, it's a
Uh,
terrible idea.
yeah,
It's
I
an
mean,
absolute
whatever it
nightmare.
might be like,
Yeah.
but like even like nowadays too, like I mean, you don't know, you could do cocaine and die. Like things are like laced with fentanyl. Like
Yeah. They're lacing
it's
like everything with fentanyl now, like lacing Xanax with fentanyl.
yeah, I mean,
It's
it's
insane.
it's a scary world that we're living in. I mean, first of all, thank you for sharing all these like very vulnerable moments. Like it takes a lot for somebody to A, go through what you've gone through, B, share it publicly. And I hope that
Guys,
people who watch and listen are if they're in a bad spot, they realize, hey, you know what, we can get better, right? There's help out there. If Brian can do it, I can do it too, because there's so much greatness on the other side of this sobriety, and then we'll get to in a minute. But I mean, it's such a I I can't relate, right? I've never been involved. Like there's been times I've said to myself or to other people even like, I mean, I wish I tried more drugs. I wish I tried like mushrooms, or I wish I tried ecstasy. I wish I'd just
yeah,
like when I
I
was
mean, they're
younger
fun.
and yeah, when I was young and stupid, I wish I tried these things and like I just
Yeah,
didn't. I
yeah.
just didn't. And I'm thankful for that because you know
You
what,
never
you
know.
do, you do it once and maybe it's like, holy
Yep.
shit, like this is amazing. I remember,
Every drug is a gateway drug. Every single drug is a gateway drug.
yeah, I
That's
mean,
something else I'll argue too.
yeah, yeah, you never know. I don't think there's one specific like. I think weed
Exactly.
gets a bad rap, like, oh, weed's a gateway drug. I think any drug could be a
It's
gateway
a gateway.
drug. Like it is what it is. But
Any drug. Yeah. Any
yeah,
drug
I
can be a gateway drug.
I
Yeah.
remember. So I've done very little drugs. I smoked pot. I've smoked pot before. I'm not good at it. People laugh at me when I say that I'm not good at it. It's just I don't know. I typically always like partake when I've had a few drinks, so I don't know if the combination for me just doesn't like jive.
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's probably messing you up because a lot of times if you drink then smoke,
Oh, I
I
go
used
to
to
the
get
moon.
sick. I used to do both.
I go to the moon.
Yeah,
I,
go
I
to
go
the moon,
straight to the moon.
or you're throwing up behind the building.
I'm not throwing. I'm going to. I'm like I don't even know where I am. Like I I've
Yeah,
I've told friends like I could literally hear if there's a. I remember my one buddy's bachelor party back in like this is like 10 years ago. We were in Colorado. It was legal. I went to a dispensary. It was fucking awesome. They're like, oh, if you want to melt into your couch, have this. If you want to be able to function, blah blah blah, do this. Like, so we had it, and bachelor party with this like cabin in the woods. It was awesome, and there was like 20 of us. There's probably like five different groups of conversations. I could literally hear everyone's. I can hear that group's conversation. I can listen to that group's conversation. I can listen to that group's conversation. It was amazing.
I understand that.
But but what I'm getting at is, I wish I would have done different things just to experience it. But like, I also I drank for the first time when I was like 16 years old. Didn't really enjoy it. Taste was terrible. I was hanging out with some older friends who were like a year or two older than me, so it just wasn't like it wasn't me. And I was just very like from that point on, I was just very like, I'm not like I want to get good grades in school. I want to have a bright future. Blah blah blah. It wasn't until the summer of between senior and freshman year, senior year of high school, freshman year of college, that I smoked pot for the first time, and it was because of a girl. And um, I was dating this girl, and she's like, she wanted to smoke pot, and I was just like, I was never one of like, you can't smoke pot. Like, as your boyfriend, I'm telling you not to smoke pot. I would never do that. I was just very like vocal about like,
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't think it's a good idea. Like, that's kind of stupid. I'm not about that. So we broke up, and she broke up with me because she felt like I was judging her. Be that as may, I remember being at a house party. A buddy of mine, we were hanging out, it was a party. He was smoking pot, and my buddy of mine was very like into fitness. He's on the straight and narrow too. So I'm like, oh shit. Well, if he's doing it, I could do it too. And like, and this girl, like, she's think I'm a fucking loser because I'm not smoking pot. So I tried it. It was
Yeah.
fine. I also did a whip it the same night.
Oh, those are
Um,
fun.
oh yeah. And then the next day, I'm like,
They're dangerous. They're
that shit's
dangerous. They're
crazy.
dangerous to do, but they're fun.
Dangerous. Like so the next day, I'm not a smart guy,
When
but
you
like I'm
drop,
not an idiot. So the next day,
yeah.
I'm like, what am I doing? Like I could die. Like like
Literally, you could die anytime you do one.
yeah. I'm like this is like I'm like what am I
Yeah.
doing? Like fuck this girl, fuck these whippets. Like what am I doing with my life? And I just kind of like I've smoked pot here and there. That was back in 2001. I mean, if I
Yeah.
said I'd never smoke pot again, I'd be lying to you. But um, it's just crazy how like you're introduced to these things and where you might go in that introduction.
Yeah.
Where it might lead to. Working in a restaurant, doing this, doing that, the other thing. Do you have friends around you who are like, yo, dude, like, uh, we're not about that life. So if you're gonna do this, like, we're not gonna talk to you again. And you're like, oh shit, well, I don't want to do that either. Like, it's just life is crazy, and there's so many roads you can go down, right?
Yeah, there is. Mhm.
And um, it's kind of wild when you really think about it.
It's always we go down wrong turns a lot, but any wrong turn can lead back to the main road, and I've gotten
Yeah.
down
Well,
over the last 8 years, I've gotten down some wrong roads, but I'm still on the path that I want to be on right now. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
You've hit rock bottom. You were at the bottom, and you're like, I need help. Anybody,
Yeah.
like
I got help.
cops,
I
help
got
me.
on that.
Mom, help me. Like you're,
Everybody helped me.
yeah. Like you're like, oh, you accepted it. You're like, I need help, and you got help,
Yeah.
right? So
I got
talk
help
about,
from
the situation, Jersey Shore. I'm not sure if you're familiar with
Yeah.
that
Oh,
show.
I used to watch it. I used to watch it all the time. I actually
I
watched the
still do.
reunion, but they got I
Guilty
couldn't. I
pleasure,
stopped.
guilty
Yeah,
pleasure.
I stopped about a year or so ago. The reunion shows. This I couldn't take it no more.
Yeah,
Girls
they're
get on
nuts. They're nuts.
the
But
girls.
the
I can't
the
listen. Yeah.
the
So
comeback's better than greater than the setback. All that kind of shit.
yeah,
But talk about where your life, how much better your life has gotten after you've accepted help, realized you had a problem,
yeah.
took the right steps, all that kind of stuff.
Took the right steps. I did AA for the summer. Got on treatment court. I was able to get my get my charges dismissed, get my record expunged years later. You know what I mean? But in the meantime, from there, I was suspended from my job at the casino because of my gaming license.
Mm.
And I remember I got on treatment court. Judge Barres told me, absolutely not. You can't go back to the casino to work. It's a party out there. I was like, all right. And my probation officer was really cool. He said to me one day, he's like, listen, man, I won't be the one to jam you up. You get it? I'm like, yeah, I get it. Whatever they told me to do, I did it. So Judge Barres, he goes, yeah, we'll talk to the judge again about you going back to work. In the meantime, you have to work on. It was going to take me a few months to get my gaming license back. So I did community service every day in Scranton for Friends of the Poor. We deliver food to people, furniture, all that kind of stuff. So taking the bus because I and on my license. So I'm taking the bus to Scranton in the winter time and all that kind of stuff. So talk about humbling, you know what I mean? And did that for months. Got my license. Then I finally went to the gaming board. I got my license back for work. That was a miracle. Those guys, I went down, I had to sit in front of the 9-panel judges in Harrisburg for the gaming board, and they had to hear my case. They had to know what I did, but they gave me my license back. I was able to go back to work, and the judge let me go back to work. So everything was lining up. Going back to work, I'm making good money again. I got full time, got life insurance. I went from shit months ago to having nothing, to having just my mother. All my money's gone for the lawyers, everything else. I'm now here. I'm 34, 35. I started my life 34, 35 years old. So 7 years ago, I restarted my life. And, it hasn't been easy, but I just had to keep doing the right thing every day and do my best. And I did. I stayed sober. I did everything they told me to do on treatment court. I went back to work. But in the meantime, too, I put on a lot of weight. My new addiction now was food. So my biggest thing was when I was taking the pills and I wasn't doing well, I would only take the pills after I ate after 3 hours, so I get the full effect. So now, as I'm getting sober and staying sober, I just treated food like if I eat, I won't think about the pills. It was kind of like that, but then that went away when I got pretty good. So I got sober pretty good for a little while, but the food was just taking over my life now. Now I'm eating everything. So I got really big, went back to work at like 260 pounds. And but still, I was happy. I was eating all the time. I was working again. I was able to get my temporary driver's license to drive to work. So I didn't have a car because I got smashed. But me and my mother worked together. I asked my boss to put me on late shift, so she would come home with the car. I would drive to work, and I did that for a year. I got my driver's license back. I was able to buy my first brand new Honda Accord. I got my charges dismissed. I moved back. I moved out of my mother's house finally again. I got a new apartment, and things were starting to just really go back to normal. I was able to watch TV normal, have a normal life, few relationships here and there, but whatever. Things never really worked out. But then I was started getting a little stagnant. I lost the weight again, but then I started putting it back on.
Before we get to that, and I apologize, can we pause for just 1 second?
Sure.
Just 1 second. I apologize. I'm sorry. We'll be right back.
Okay.
And we're back. I apologize.
All good.
But you said, you're doing different shifts with your mom. So you have the car. Different relationships are going good and bad, whatever. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Things were really lining up. I'm back into my new apartment. I have my own car now, my license back. Everything's going good. But now life is getting a little stagnant now. I'm a little overweight. Maybe a lot overweight for me. I was working I was like 260 when I went back to the casino to work, and then I lost all that weight.
And how tall are you?
5'9".
So 260 at 5'9". Oh, that was big. It
was big. It was very uncomfortable, extremely uncomfortable. I went back to work. I remember when I called my boss, hey, I come back to the casino. Oh, that's great news, Brian. You want to come in tonight? I'm like, oh no, I need a new uniform. I need all new like 40 pants. It was just so big for me. But I lost all that. I lost my driver's license. So I remember I bought a bike, and I remember. So actually, this is a very important thing to talk about. I remember when I finally realized I needed to get myself in control was when I went to buy a pair of shorts at American Eagle, and I couldn't fit into a pair of 42s. They wouldn't fit over my legs. I remember sitting in the back of my mother's Jeep, and I'm like, I cried a little bit to myself. I ended up buying a bike off a kid in the AA meeting. I rode that pedal bike to the gym every day, even in the wintertime to go lift. Almost every day I went to go lift. Wintertime, I might have got a few rides. But then I finally got my driver's license back. I lost all the weight. All the weight went off. But it slowly came back on as my life got more and more comfortable. I got my car back. I put more weight on. I got my new apartment. Got put more weight on. You know what I mean? So it just started building up. But I was also lifting all the time, so I was bigger upper body now. But I was still really big. I was really big. And I remember my friend Rocco finally got me to go to jiu-jitsu. He's been trying to get me to join jiu-jitsu with him um, at Good Tree MMA like years and years and years ago. And he finally got me to go. He was training for about 6 years at the time. He finally got me to go to a free seminar. We did a little judo, a couple hip tosses, and we did some punching, some striking. I was like, okay. So I came back the following week. I did a couple trial jiu-jitsu classes, and I was hooked. I signed up, but then I remember my first week as being a member, I was getting pushed around by these kids half my size, and I couldn't do anything against them. And it was like 2 days in a row, and I got pissed off. And I was walking off the mat, and the one guy that signed me up, who I work for and work with now, Tyler Mooney, Tyler, I'm done. I quit. I'm done. This is fucking bullshit. I can't do anything out there. It was like my second day. You know, he's like, whoa, relax. Like, what's the problem? I told him what's going on. He's like, well, that kid's he's training for he competes. He's training for a tournament. He's training for about a year. I go, oh, you guys do tournaments? He goes, yeah, we compete in this sport. I'm like, oh, that was it. That's all I needed to hear. They reeled me back in. My friend Rocco reeled me back in, told me I need to relax. I need to stop using my strength. And then the longer I train, the better it will get. And they're right. It's really hard at first. It's very challenging at first. You have to stick with it. You have to want to stick with it. And I did. And things got better, but I finally found something that I really was going to really enjoy. And the reason why my life was chaotic a little bit for a couple of years, even though I was sober, was I was working night shift at the casino. I was working 6:30 in the night till 3 in the morning. Almost zero social life unless
Right.
you're with people that work those crazy hours. And I didn't live that life anymore. So it was limited on who I could be friends with and hang out with or even date at the time. You know what I mean? So it was really rough. It was almost zero dating life. And then my friends that I grew up with, I hang out with now, they go out on the weekends. They go to watch UFC, do this or do that, or go here, go there. I couldn't do that. I had to work like a weekend, nights, all the time. And it was really hard to get days off. And I lived that life for years. But finally, when I started doing jujitsu, I just so happened to be able to switch the day shift at the casino. And I was always against day shift at the casino because it's really slow, it's boring, and the hours are like 11 to 7. Now, 11 to 7 is a lot better than 6:30 at night till 3 in the morning. So I
Sure.
tried it for a couple of weeks, and I really liked it. I got my social life back. I was able to train jiu-jitsu more with that schedule. So then I just started doing that more. I started going to jiu-jitsu more, started training more and more and more. I got more and more comfortable with that. And I started losing the weight again. I got back. I was training for a tournament. I wanted to get below, I need to get smaller to compete because as I'm 230, 235, 5'9", people in my 235 weight class are 6'3",
Right. They're
230
big.
ripped.
They're
You know what
big.
I
Yeah.
mean? I was
Yep.
running into that. I'm always looking up. And I was a white belt and everything like that, but still, it's still competition. There's still a guy in front of you that's the same weight as you, but completely fucking different. And my
Yeah.
jujitsu was
Longer
trash.
reach.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it was just nuts. I needed to get into a lower weight class, and I ended up doing that. But that sport really got me going.
And what year was
And
this around?
2000 and so 4 years. So 2018, 2019.
Okay.
That's what I just started. July was like 4 years, a 4-year mark for me as far as training this goes.
Okay.
So what was that? Whatever year that was. So that's when that was, and my life got a little more. My life got a little more meaning to it. Like
Yeah.
I was just working. I was coming home, watching TV, relaxing, playing Golf Clash on my phone constantly. I don't know if you ever got into that game back a couple of years ago. Golf
I
Clash.
I'm so
Whew.
addicted to social media, dude. I don't even get with these games on the
Yeah,
phone.
I need to take
Too much.
breaks off Facebook because of my hands, man. My
Yeah.
wrists, my hands hurt from going on Facebook. But back in the day, before I was hooked on the Facebook, it was Golf Clash. Just playing that freaking thing, spending money on it. It was absolute blast. So my life finally got a little bit of meaning to it, and I'm starting to be competitive again because I I pissed away football when I was younger. I was just telling my trainer, I pissed away football when I was younger. I pissed away powerlifting when I was younger. I never knew what my full potential what that was. I believe me and my friends, we could have been Olympic powerlifters for how much we were lifting at 13 years old. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And I never personally found it. I did powerlifting for a little while, and I picked it up in my early 20s again. But then I started doing the drugs and everything like that, so I got away from it again. So again, I wasted more potential talent. But when it comes to jiu-jitsu, I'm very competitive with it, and I do a lot of tournaments, and I've lost more matches than I've won. We just went out to my IBJJF is one of the bigger tournaments, like probably like the first or second tournament that you would want to do as a jiu-jitsu competitor. They go all over the world. We went to a few tournaments up in New Haven where I was able to enjoy the 3 pizza places up there. We got Pepe's Pizza, Sally's. There's a third one, isn't there?
I'm not even sure.
Up in the New Haven. Oh, you don't know about New Haven Pizza? You got to go
No.
online and you like social media. Go
Oh,
online
yeah.
and go on Pizzaholics. Go on Pizzaholics page
New Haven.
and
All right.
New Haven, Connecticut. They call themselves the pizza capital of the world. So
Yeah.
Jim knows all about it. So that's a word. I started going to those tournaments more and more and more, but I was losing. I was losing matches. I was one. You lose one, you're done. You lose one. I lose one on Saturday. I lose one on Sunday, and that was it. Watching my friends win and stuff like that, which is great. I'm always supportive of my team, but I take my losses as just learning experiences. But I was training for a while, and I wasn't really learning off of the experiences. I wasn't training properly for them. And my trainer Tyler told me after the tournament last year in New Haven, he's like, "If you want to get, I was winning this match, and I lost it in the last minute. The guy got all his points against me. He passed me, he got on top of me, and I lost my lead in the points. I didn't submit to it, but I lost the match, and I had it won. All I had to do was just a couple other things, but I wasn't trained enough to do it. And I wasn't listening to what he was saying to me. And he's like, if you want to train with these guys and stay on that podium with these guys of this caliber, you need to train more consistently. And he was right. I was only training once or twice a week. I was training Tuesday on like 2 or 3 days, but I needed to train more. And ever since then, I train more and train more. I'm getting a little bit better. And it's just, I love the competitiveness of it. I love keeping going. And now I get to do it every day because I left the casino in January. I got burned out from working there. It was a great place to work. Don't get me wrong. The benefits were great. The money was great. The people I worked with were great, but I couldn't stand the players anymore. I was dealing to the same 8 people every single day because they were retired. They bet the same way. They buy in the same way. They drink the same fucking coffee every day. They're miserable every day and they don't tip. I couldn't take it no more. And I
Yeah.
finally got so burned out. But before I quit, the gym I work for now is Good Tree MMA. We have a location in Dunmore and location in Wilkes-Barre. We still go under the Wilkes-Barre MMA name down there too. So,
Okay.
they have 2 gyms now. They offered me a job with them in like November. I was like, oh, it's a little bit of a pay cut, no insurance, stuff like that. But I saw all the negativity of it instead of the positive of it. And I was like, no, I can't do it right now. I can't do it right now. And I came home, told my fiance about it, Shannon, and I was moping around the house for about 3 weeks. She goes, "Why are you moping around the house?" I'm like, "I want to leave the casino and go work for them at the gym." She goes, "Well, then go do it. We'll figure it out." I'm like, "Okay, all right, that sounds all right. I can do it." So I called them up and told them, but by then they went to the next person and the spots got filled, which is fine. So I always wanted to be a personal trainer, and I said, "Okay, you know what? I'm gonna leave the casino. They're going to hire somebody else eventually at the gym when they expand, which is going to be the next 6 months. So eventually I will work for them, they told me. But in the meantime, I'll study to be a personal trainer and I'll do that. And I can bring that to the table with them. And it's funny, years ago when I started training, I remember telling my friends, I was like, how cool would it be to be a personal trainer and have like a gym inside the jiu-jitsu gym and do both at the same time? And now we're working towards that. It's just unbelievable how I go from sitting in jail to getting to this spot right now. So I I, I studied to be a national personal trainer for about a couple months. Actually, it took me about 2 months to study in, but 6 months to do it because I
Hmm.
sat around for 4 months. I quit, had some savings. I just needed to relax and I went. The new gym opened in January in Wilkes-Barre, and I wasn't working for them, but I was able to be part of it from day one and be down there a lot and work with these guys who I've been training with. And eventually, I was able to get in there as the salesman, where I take care of all the clients, all the members, and I'm an assistant trainer. So we go down there. I work about maybe 30 hours a week, and 20 hours of that is training jujitsu. with new people that come in, kids classes, all that kind of stuff. So we have a really good kids program down there. We teach the kids. Then we have the adult classes, and we're looking to expand the gym already. It's absolutely amazing. You know what I mean? The owners, Frank Alonia, Tyler Mooney, and then Tom McGuire. They all own the gym together a little bit, and they're growing this MMA gym that started off in Dunmore. It's Good Tree MMA. They've been training for a very long time. The business, we just moved into a new location, a new name, and then the second location down in Wilkes-Barre now. And their plan is to keep it going. They have the system down, and it's just absolutely amazing to be part of that now. I'm growing with them, and I'm part of that, and that's the future that I wanted. That's the future that I thought about for a while. Almost missed it, and now it's a reality, and it's absolutely amazing. I'm just so lucky to be part of it. It really is.
Well, shout out to your fiance. Is it Shannon?
Shannon, yes,
Shannon, yes. Yeah,
she's the real champ around here.
she sounds like an angel. That's like, hey, that's what you want to do. Let's do it.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. She
shout out to
supported me
her.
the whole. She
That's
supported me the whole way. I couldn't do it without her. I
yeah,
really couldn't.
and
Yeah, and she does mixed martial arts as well. So she knows that drive. You know what I mean?
yeah. And you said kids. What age do the kids start at, or can they start at?
6 years old. We started taking like 5-year-olds for tryouts, but 6 to 12 are the kids classes.
Okay.
And we
I want.
started with like 3 or 4. Go on. I'm sorry.
I don't know. I want my kid. I so I think karate, taekwondo, jiu-jitsu, all that kind of like martial arts and things like that. Um, teach a lot of discipline and
Hmm.
confidence and all those things. And in the world's a cruel place, and I have a son and a daughter. My son is 5; he'll be 6 in December, and I just want him to be able to take care of himself. Um,
You should bring him by for a free class. 5 o'clock.
so yeah, I want to. We stopped by a karate class like about a year ago. Like we'll just watch, but and he's just like not into it. Like he's not an aggressive kid. He's not like yet. He was still young. Maybe he'll get into that more aggressive, not like a bad way, but just like
I know what you. Oh, I know what you mean.
yeah,
I think jujitsu would be a different experience than the karate because we're, we're trained to remain calm in the situations
right,
that are dangerous. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And the kids have a lot of fun. They play together, and I think maybe we'll talk about another time, but you can bring them by and see and watch a class if you want to just be part of it. It's a
yeah.
fun time. It's
I
a
mean,
really
I'm
good time.
definitely gonna push it on him just a little bit, not
Hmm.
aggressively, but just like it's important. I
It is
want to be able to take
it is
care of himself.
important, and we teach anti-bullying
Yeah,
strictly. Like that's what we teach the kids to do. We do
yeah,
jujitsu 3 times a week, and then we do a little MMA class, and we bring up a little bit. The kids really love it. We would start off with like 2 kids, in January, 3 kids, and maybe 4 kids for for a month. Now we have almost 30, and
that's
it's just we're
awesome.
getting more and more. We're getting more and more. It's absolutely amazing. It really,
Yeah,
really is. Yeah, it really is. And just to see them progress from the day they walked in the door to where they are now, especially the kids that were there from day one. We just did belt promotions, and it's just amazing seeing them not knowing what a headlock is or this that is or an arm lock, and now they're doing everything. It's
yeah.
incredible. It's very rewarding. It's very rewarding. That's why I'm very lucky to be able to get the chance to do this.
Well,
That's what
I
I do
mean,
every day.
it's an amazing thing to be able to be able to perform, right? Like, everyone thinks they can fight, you know, and
Oh yeah,
people who are trained
DC
to
DC
fight,
Red.
uh,
Hmm.
you know, they can fight or they can diffuse a situation. We just had a discussion today or yesterday at work, about getting into fights and you know, trained versus like someone being angry, and it's like someone who's trained can like beat someone who might be stronger because of technique and things like that. And it's an interesting thing to think about.
No, it is. I remember the people always joke about, oh, I see red. No one has a chance with me when I see red. I never heard anybody say that to me before. I walked into Turkey Hill the one night a while back, and the clerk was talking. He's like, "Oh, I wanted one of the shirts on, and I wanted some of the merch from the gym." And he goes, "Oh, you train up there?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "I want to come up there, but my fists are really hard. I don't want to hurt anybody, but if I get hit I'm gonna see I'm gonna see red." I'm like, "Well, I go, "But," I go, "Listen," I go, when you're seeing red, I'm gonna be looking at you, and I'm just
Yeah.
gonna take care of you." And I
Slip
go,
clearly. Yeah.
we wear boxing gloves and we don't punch each other in the face. Like you're not gonna hurt. And I go, he doesn't know what he was talking about. Then I just stopped. He just
Yeah.
kept on. That's the first time I ever heard that though. Is somebody say, "Oh, when I get angry I get mad." We're not getting angry. We're teammates up here.
Right.
That's not what it's about. Like, nobody gets hurt. Yeah, people are.
But you kind of like deconstruct things too, like as
Yeah,
a trained professional fighter, like you can, you know,
I
someone's
wouldn't consider
angry
myself a
versus
trained. I wouldn't consider myself a trained professional fighter, but I know exactly what you're talking about. You're
yeah,
able to calm yourself, but jujitsu in general is you're able to slow everything down, and because you have to pick apart what the person is doing to you, let them make a mistake, and then take advantage of that. And as far as a competitor goes, I'm struggling with that. I'm struggling like chaining moves together. Like if I go for move A, B, and they don't work, go to C, and that will work. But I don't. I just go to A and like maybe go to C later. But like I'm having trouble with that right now. But you know, in general, if somebody untrained on the streets comes at me, I feel confident that I'd be able to defend myself from them. As
am
long as
I
they don't
too
shoot me.
am I, yeah, right. Am I too old to start?
I started when I was 38. I'm 42.
All
I
right.
just
Well,
lost. I just went out to IBJJF Master World Championships in Las Vegas, and my friend Keenan Powers just won his
I
Masters
know
division.
Keenan.
He's 30.
I know
You know
Keenan.
Keenan?
Yeah, well, I mean, like,
Your Keenan shout
I don't know him
out.
well. I think we played dodgeball like maybe 10 years ago together. He used to work at the V Spot bar, I believe. So I don't know him, but
You
I
say was a
know,
bouncer there, right?
yeah, but like
Okay.
I've seen his like
Yeah, but
transformation over the years, and it just like he's fucking he's an
yeah,
animal.
yeah, he is. He is. He's absolutely amazing. And we've been training together for. I remember when he started. Um, we've been doing tournaments together. Like since we started training, since we're like almost 3 years ago before COVID. Or right after COVID, or something like that. We started doing our first tournaments, and we've been competing. We went to Las Vegas 2 years ago for our last white belt tournament. Um, we both things didn't work out for us then, and then we been going to all these other big tournaments, and he just dominates. He dominates people. It's great to see. And then my other friends will train too. Like I finally got my friend Rocco to come to a tournament, and he did really well. He talked about first match. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to grab him and do flying armbar. And he talked about the whole way there. First match, he did exactly that. It was really cool to see. And they're at little higher levels. He's a purple belt. He was a purple at the time. He's a brown belt now. And then my buddy Jihad, my buddy G, who I forgot to shout out last time. He never lets me hear the end of it. You know what I mean? Like I finally got him to come out to an IBJF tournament. He competed and he did really well. You know what I mean? Try to get these guys to do local tournaments with me, and I was trying to drive the gym to do tournaments, and like not just me, other guys do it too. Keenan's the same way. Like he's the one that texted me about Master Worlds. You want to go out there? I'm like, dude, Vegas for 5 days, Master World Champions as a blue belt, absolutely, I'll do it. You know what I mean? So Master Worlds, like Masters 3 classes, like 41 to 45. So I'm right in the middle. I'm 42. So here I am, Master 2 195, but I had to get down to about 187 because we have to weigh in with our gis on, which weigh 5 pounds. Our gis, and we have to be hydrated, so we have to be lower than the actual weight classes. It kind of helps prevent weight cutting a little bit,
It's
But
probably good, right?
so yeah, we get out there. I had to lose weight. So did Keenan. We made our weight. I was in really good shape. I was feeling really good. I trained the hardest I ever trained. I broke down more than twice during this camp, like just like crying in the shower for no reason. Like I was in pain. I was hurting everywhere. I was stressed out. All I wanted to do was win, 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 win. I couldn't. And I talked to my teammates and my friends, and they experienced the same thing, and they had to bring me down to back down to earth. And I just started, but then I trained even harder after that. I felt even better. And when I had the match, the match is posted on my Facebook page. I went out there. I was aggressive right off the start, but I missed something I'm really good at. I'm really good at. It's called like a stack pass. I'm really good at grabbing the person's leg and bending it over their head and getting to the side of them. And I'm right in this position in here, and I did it wrong. And he took advantage of that, and he ended up beating me. And I think about it every day. I watch the match. I stopped watching the match every day finally, but I think about it all the time. But it drives me to do better. So now I'm on a path to train for the next year and go back out there as a little more experienced blue belt at 43 in the same class as these same guys, and it'll be my last chance at blue belt to do it probably. So I really want to go out there and hopefully train hard this year and do my best. But I also need to train. I also want to train for, not so much personal reasons. I want to be able to be better at jiu-jitsu for the gym itself,
Sure.
to get to a level like you can't be an actual instructor of a class until you're a purple belt. So I'm probably a year or so away from that if I continue on the path I am. So that adds more value to the gym as me being an instructor. That allows more classes to happen, and I'd be a bigger part of the gym. You know what I mean? So, and that's really important to me, and it's important to me to be a good practitioner of jiu-jitsu, to be able to be the value of the school and bring that to the students as well, because I have really, really good instructors, and it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be where I am right now in this sport. And I just need to get better. I really been training for 4 years, but my coach Tyler would be like, "You've really been training for 2 years." So like the first couple of years, I was kind of like jerking off and not going a lot. You know what I mean? So, and then COVID happened. I broke my toe for 3 months. That was stupid. And but I just really enjoy it now. It's fun to compete, and I'm getting ready for a tournament in a couple of weeks, and it's just something I'm able to do now. And I'm not going to be able to compete the rest of my life, but I'll be able to coach jiu-jitsu the rest of my life, and that's what I want to do with my life. And Shannon, supporting me, leaving my job and doing this, and then Good Tree MMA, Wilkes-Barre MMA, give me the chance to do it. I'm lucky. I'm lucky to be able to do that. And sooner or later, I'm going to start personal training, a Devin Fit personal training. Sooner or later, when I launch that, business exists. I just haven't done anything with it yet because I'm putting my time into the MMA gym right now.
Sure.
I'm lucky enough to do that. So,
well, dude, I mean, it sounds like you did a 180. You were in one place, 10 years ago, and now you're in a completely different place. And there's a lot to be said about that. And I'm for what it's worth, I'm very proud of you. It's not an easy thing to go through. Obviously, a lot of people don't. So it's just your story is an amazing story. I mean, you hit rock bottom, and now, I wouldn't say you're on the top of the iceberg, but like you're on your way up, right? It's like
I feel like my life just started a couple of years ago.
Yeah, we'll never be on the top.
I really do.
We don't ever want to be on the top, but we always want to be climbing to that next level, like that next.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Yeah,
absolutely. I completely agree.
Grab that next
agree.
that
what's the next little goal? What's the next little goal?
But let's just say, you can go back in time. Like what's one thing that if you can go back in time, what's one thing you would have done differently? Whether it's I would have done X in high school, or I would have, it's not as easy as saying, oh, I would have said no to pills or whatever. It's if you can go back in time, knowing what you know now, what's one thing you would have done differently?
I know one thing that if I did do it differently, I think it would have changed everything that happened in my life. If I didn't fail my freshman year of high school, I think my life would have been completely different, because I would have been in the same class with my friends that I grew up with the whole 9 years going to school. Right. I wouldn't have got introduced to the pot. I wouldn't have started smoking pot. I wouldn't have been in the class with those people. You know what I mean? But I met a lot of good friends out of that too. So it's kind of weird. But so I don't know. I don't know if I would change that or not. But
it's hard, right? Because like
that's interesting to think. I don't know if I would change that. Like if I had to pick one solid. Oh yeah, it does. I believe that it does.
It does. Like it's hard to believe that sometimes. Like my dad passed away when I was 22, and
that's when it gets tough.
To this day, I'm still like, what's the reason for that? So it's hard to like, say everything happens for a reason, but yeah, I think it does.
I believe it does. I believe in that energy, you know what I mean? Yeah. But I don't know if I would go back and change that, because my life wouldn't be what it is right now. So right. It's it makes you think. But if I could change one thing, it would be the way I treated college because I'm paying for it now every month, you know?
Yeah.
I wish I learned about finances when I was younger. Like no one told me about a Roth IRA when I was in my 20s.
Dude, they
I
don't
could be a,
ever
I could
fucking
be
tell
a,
you that
I could
shit.
be a millionaire right now, bro. I could be a millionaire right now if I was saving up the fucking money I spent pissing it away.
Well, not even
You tell me,
that. Not
you
even
tell
that,
me,
dude. Like I'm still
they don't teach you nothing about it.
convinced. I'm still convinced that people. I mean, we're roughly the same age, right?
Yeah.
I'm convinced that like our guidance counselors and shit like that, they didn't know what the fuck they were doing.
The 90s in school, man. What did we learn? What did we learn in the 90s?
They
Think about
didn't
what we learned in
know
the 90s we use
that
now.
they,
Nothing, man.
all they thought was like you need to go to college because that's what you need
Yeah.
to do. They didn't guide you into like, hey, John, you're good at X, Y, or Z. You should like entertain a thing like a career in this. Like there was so many tests and like things you took like they didn't take the
Mhm.
time to sit down with you and like, hey, what do you like to do, John? What do you like to do? What like Brian? Like what
I agree.
like, they didn't do that. It was like it's just like they just like it pisses me off to a degree. It really does. And I just don't think they were good guidance counselors. No offense to them. I
Right.
don't remember the one's name, Mrs. Gregory. I doubt she's watching or listening. But like, but like
You
we
never know.
now these days though, I think kids have a great opportunity. There's so much data or data, however you want to say it, um, available to kids today. There's and I hope they can utilize it. I hope it's accurate too. Like it's just like I don't know. I think we were like in this middle ground where we're like a placeholder. Like technology's there, but it's like not really great, but it's cool.
Yeah. Text
But like,
messages,
yeah,
next,
it's just
all
like
that
it's
kind
like
of stuff.
it's introductory. Like it could be great, but we don't know how to utilize it. So like just hang out. And then,
Yeah.
10 years later, it's like technology's amazing. You can do so much shit with it. Like and
Well, there's no social media back then.
no, but
Social
what I'm
media
there's
is
just there's just so much that didn't exist. Like there's like data that you
yeah,
can
exactly. Yeah.
compile from like we have Chat GPT now. You can just ask that anything you want to.
I just
Dude,
downloaded that actually. It's
dude,
fucking great
it's
actually.
insane.
I
Yeah.
keep on I keep on spelling things wrong when I do social media for Wilkes-Barre MMA, and I occasionally spell things wrong when I make the reels or the post, and it's just so embarrassing. Like my father told me when I was younger, we are going over the spelling. He goes, "You don't learn how to spell, it's gonna affect you later on in life." I'm like, no, it's not. Let me tell you what it does. Even the phone the computer. So
Yeah.
I downloaded that. So it's really really cool. Actually, you brought that up. See,
It's
it's
amazing.
fucked up.
It's
It's pretty
it's
cool
amazing
actually.
technology.
Everything just everything coming right down. It really is. So when I said about college, I didn't go to college with an end goal in mind. I just
Okay.
wanted to go to college to get a business degree,
So
but
that's
I
what we're
didn't have
told to do. We were told to go to
any
college,
path
Brian.
on where I wanted to go. I was older though. I should have made a better. I was like 23 when I started college. I should have made a better decision. I
Right.
wasn't
But
18, fresh out of the guidance council. But the college itself didn't ask me what I really wanted to do. Like what part do they have in it? Like when I'm sitting in the admissions office asking to come to college, like, well, what do you plan on doing in 3 to 4 years? Then what's your goal? I
they
never
don't
got
give a
asked
shit.
that.
You're gonna
It's
pay
just
40 grand a year and that's it.
sign this student aid form. And I just wish I didn't jerk off in school and not take it seriously. And I wish I was on a better path because you know, but that also might not have led to where I am now, but who knows where it would have led. That's one thing that is like undone. Like, and then football in high school tue. You know what I mean? I don't know what would have
Yeah.
happened with that too. So that's just a loaded question. Like I get to just keep coming up with new stuff
Yeah.
that I want
It's
to go
it's
back on.
it's hard, dude. Like I remember I was always a good athlete. I was good. I was a great shooter in basketball. Now I'm 5'10", white. So you know, my basketball career was not going to flourish. But I was always like for high school in Lake Lehman School District, NEPA, was a good shooter. And I was a pitcher in baseball, shortstop in baseball. I was very like, I was never like a speed pitcher. I was just very like, location was everything. Like I
Right.
could fucking
Yeah.
put it wherever you want, wherever he told me to put it, I put it. But like I never, I went to practice and I practiced, and I went home and did homework. I never lifted weights outside of practice. I never practiced outside of practice. Like I think about like, oh man, like if I had like taken it to the next level when I was in high school, would I have been something more? I mean, something more being like, would I be an MLB athlete? No, but I was always
You never
like
know.
just I was just like at this like mid level, and I think I could have been better.
I understand what you
So
mean.
so I try and like,
Wasted,
oh, go ahead.
no, that's wasted. Wasted potential. We don't never know where we would have went if we just tried a little bit harder. It's
Yeah,
hard.
but
We could beat ourselves about it. I could beat myself about it if I want to.
yeah, but now it's nuts though. Like kids these days, dude, they're baseball in school, it's travel league this, travel league that. They're playing five sports. It's
Oh my
costing
god, yeah, they
ten
play
thousand
baseball
dollars.
year round.
Yeah, it's fucking nuts, dude. My
Some of
son's
the kids that come in, they do this, they do that.
yeah, my son's 5 years old. He'll be six in December. Like I'm introducing him to everything. He plays soccer, he plays baseball, he plays basketball. I want to get him into some kind of jujitsu, karate type thing. And I want him to like kind of find his way. Like, and if he's like picks one or two, like, all right, let's focus on this. It'd be great. But we'll see. I don't know what's gonna happen. But
Yeah,
it's
you
a
never
it's a
know. He'll
different
find
it's a
he'll
different
find
world.
find something. Definitely, it is a different world than when we were growing up. It's insane.
But
The parents coming in and saying, "Oh, my kid's getting bullied at school." Okay, I mean that happens all the time, but now it's like it's online bullying. It's this, it's
oh
that. It's
dude,
it's it's it's
it's nuts.
vicious.
It's
It's
nuts.
insane. It's easy to defend yourself on the playground, but it's hard to defend yourself on the
That's
internet.
that's that's what
And
used to
these kids
rule.
don't deserve that.
Used to rule, man. Like, hey, you want to be an asshole? Let's fight in the playground. Punch in
Yeah,
the
let's go.
throat.
Let's get it. And then you're best friends the rest of your
Over.
life.
Yeah, over.
I got friends that used to fist fight. You know what I mean? It's just, but times are different now.
I remember
If I did,
we were 20 no, we were 20 years old. We were drinking at a party, and I punched my best friend, who ended up being the best man at my wedding. Um, like we thought the cops were at the party. I went outside. There's no cops. I came back in. I'm like, all right, everyone, just be quiet. And he's like,
yeah,
don't tell me to be quiet. And I'm like, bro, be fucking quiet. And he got up and he pushed me. I just fucking swung, fucking punched him. He had a black eye, contact flew out of his fucking eyeball. And, thankfully, he was much bigger than me. And thankfully, after I had already taken my punch, my swing, and did all that, friends got in the middle of us, kind of broke it up before he was able to like pound the shit out of me.
yeah, that's good.
Um,
That's always good.
friends intervened, and we were hanging out in the back porch. 5 minutes later, best friends again. But but yeah,
That's how
but
life
life's
works
life's a
sometimes.
fucking ride, dude.
Hmm.
And what I'm getting at is like, I'm like I said before, for what it's worth, I'm who am I? But I'm proud of you. Like, you could have stayed at the bottom, and you didn't. So it's an amazing
You could have
story.
died down there.
You could, yeah, exactly. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. You could have stayed at the bottom. You could have been dead and gone, and we would never be having this conversation. So I'm
Mhm.
glad we're doing this. Thank you for taking the time to do this. Um, as far as DiMattei's food fight page, what are we looking at right now? It's we're recording this on a Thursday night in September 28th. This will probably released on October 6th ish. Any plans for the food fight page? Any plans for jujitsu? Any plans for just life goals in general?
Yeah. Well, life goals. Me and my fiance, we want to get married. Yeah, we've been engaged we'll be engaged now for about a year, and we've planned nothing so far for the wedding. Um, we just want to do the church ceremony. I love. She wants to get married in the church. I love the tradition of getting married in the church. So
Sure.
um, we're gonna do that in spring and just have a little get together afterwards, and maybe have a party later on down the road. But
Oh
we
yeah.
want to get married. We want to buy a little house. We want to start we want to start the idea of having a kid and start that process. We're
Bro, you better
it's
hurry
time
up.
to do. It's time to do it now. Exactly.
Bro,
So it's really scary.
I mean,
It's
you're in
really
shape.
scary to start doing it.
You're in good shape.
I
You
know
got a
it's
great beard. You got a good jawline. You're fit. Like I can
yeah.
see the traps and all that kind of stuff. Like you're ready to go. But I mean, you're not getting younger,
I know I'm not, but that's something that we're just talking about and something I'm scared about doing.
dude.
And
It's
but
it,
I don't want to miss out on it though.
dude.
I
It
don't want to
is
miss
the
out on it.
most. And I'm gonna say this to you, and I hate being that advocate for this, but like I wish that I would have done it. I have two kids. I was
Mhm.
35 when I had my first. I was 40 when I had our second.
So how was that? Was your go on, I'm sorry, please continue.
No, no, no. But like,
No,
I wish I had done it earlier. Um, it's the greatest thing I've ever done.
that's what everybody tells me.
And I could tell, like, from your just your mannerisms and the kind of the place you're at right now, um, you'd kill it. And
Yeah.
it's an
So
amazing, it's so, dude, it's so amazing. I could sit here and we could have another podcast about
uh-huh.
being a father and that
That's what
kind
everybody says, and I get cold feet about it. I'm just like,
of,
you get
no,
selfish about it. You get selfish about it too, but I don't want to miss out on it. I always think I'm like, come on, you could do everything you want to do while having a kid, man. It's not going to be like that. I know it's not going to be like that every day. I can't do whatever I want like I do now, but that's no, I don't want to miss out on that. I think about what Shannon wants, and she'd be a great mother. I see how she is with her nieces and nephews, and even with me. And I'm like, that's just something I don't want to miss out on. And then being around the kids at the school and
right?
all that kind of stuff. But have I been getting cold feet about it a little bit? I have, but I finally I talked it down and thought about it more and realized that it's just my own selfish reasons, cold feet. I'm scared, but it's also something I don't want to miss on. Just like everybody says, well, you told me the same thing. That's the greatest thing in the world. You know what I mean? So I want to experience that. So that's life goals is a personal life goals. You know what I mean? Love to not paying arm and a leg for a house, but I'm sure we're going to if we want to get it soon. So, but
Just
whatever.
yeah. I mean, like
Everything
give it
it
another
is what it
year.
is.
Take
Yeah,
another
everything
year.
costs a fortune.
Explore
Everything.
it in like 2024. See what happens. And
Yeah,
maybe
everything costs a fortune. We have a nice apartment though in Kingston, so it's nice. I mean, everything's really it's nice. We could do it here. So, that's the life plans as far as uh, the jujitsu plans, just to continue to build the gym that I'm at now, and compete more. I want to go back out to probably Las Vegas again next year and do that tournament again. And I want to win. I watched my buddy Keenan win, and I want to go out there and hopefully more guys come out with this. But I want to stand up. I remember we're taking pictures of took a picture me, Keenan, and Tyler. The girl goes, "Oh, do you want us to get on the podium?" I'm like, "Oh, no." I go, "I'm not stepping on that podium until I earn a medal to stand on that podium," and that's my
right.
goal to go out there and do that. So, I keep training hard. I keep coming back, and I just, you know, like I said, I just want that win. That's what I'm chasing. So that's the goal for my jujitsu personally. And as far as becoming a trainer, I want to learn more and become a better assistant trainer, and eventually a full-time trainer at the gym. So that's my short-term and then long-term goals with that. And the food page, I mean, it grows. It's a lot of attention with the food page. It took off. And it's funny, you mentioned talking about Jim earlier from NEPA Pizza Review, he's the one that suggested DiMattia's food fight. And I put a
Okay.
poll up and people really liked that name. So about a month later, I ended up, it really sat with me. And I was like, that sounds great. I could do so much with it. And then my buddy Mike Rez and Josh Anderson from Black Fuse. So it's hanging up here if anybody can see it, from the Black Fuse Gallery in Kingston. They're tattoo artists. They're the ones that designed my logo. They also designed the logo for Good Tree MMA and Dunmore MMA. So you could find them online if you want to, a Black Fuse Gallery in Kingston. So when he drew up my logo with the fist, I'm like, I go, that is just absolutely amazing. And I
But
go, but I want those two little pizzas for the eyes. And it was like, okay, easy fix.
okay.
And
It's
absolutely
perfect.
amazing.
It's perfect. You're a fighter. The food fight. And I mean, you post online, right? Like this or that, and people fucking gravitate towards it.
Oh, they love it.
They
The
love it,
food fight
dude.
posts. Yeah.
You
I
know,
try to
it's
respond to every comment too.
does
It's rough out there
does
sometimes.
pineapple belong on pizza? Fucking forget about it. You're gonna get 1,000
Yeah.
comments. It's just like it,
Yeah.
people just want to, put in their 2 cents, and it's great. I love it, and I dude, it's like it's zero to hero story. Like I said before, you came from the bottom, and now you're here, and you should be proud of yourself. Not everyone comes out of that dark place like you have. Um, you have very great ambitions and goals, and family ambitions, and just all this stuff that is a great part of life, and a great part of like adding to society. And it just it's all great stuff. And I'm thankful that you shared your story with me and my audience, and hopefully people can kind of hear that. And if they're having an issue, they can realize there is a light at the end of the tunnel. um and
I
if they're
appreciate
not
that.
having an issue, they're just like, hey, this is a great story in general. So
Mhm.
yeah.
I appreciate that. I really do. I had a lot
Yeah,
of fun.
dude.
I appreciate you reaching out to me, and we played phone tag for a little while. I'm real bad sometimes with the messenger on the Facebook. So
Dude, it's
I
hard.
guess get
It's good for,
yeah. It's
good for
just
you to not be so trapped by it all. Like I wish if I wasn't, I spent so much time in media. I was in the weekend, like I said, I was in radio for a while. Now I'm at Axelrad. But I use social media a lot for this platform, so I'm constantly on it. I feel like I'm on it probably too much, and sometimes it's like, am I missing like moments with my family because of this? Um, I don't think it's at that level yet, but I'm definitely on it more than I should be. And
oh, I'm on it too, bro.
yeah, but like, hey,
I
dude,
spent some time on there.
if it
Yeah,
takes
I
if it
spent some
takes you a
time
day
on
or two
there.
to get back to people, like, dude, that you're good. You're good.
All of my pizza reviews are write offs. So every time I get pizza, I gotta get a receipt. You know what I mean? It's tax
Dude,
deductible.
I gotta I
Every
gotta
meal I eat is every review I do is tax deductible. So
dude,
you
I
know,
I need to yeah. There's so much. A business podcast could be a great thing too. Like people who are smarter than I am, and write-offs and that kind of shit, hit them up too. Because if you have a business, there's loopholes, and there's write-offs, and there's
all kinds of stuff you could do.
advantages you
Yep.
can
All kinds of stuff you could do. So
but
Facebook wants to pay people for everything now. So it's great.
they all
You
they
know,
all want our data, whatever you want to say it. They all want it. They're
we
all
got it.
taking it from us.
They already have it.
They're all
They
taking it
have
from
it.
us. Yeah.
They're taking
But
our time. They're taking my elbows hurt from being on the phone too much. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
I want the page to keep on going. The page is it's gonna be so much fun. I'm gonna organize a pizza eating contest. I don't know for what the times leader in the weekender. We're supposed to do it like this month, but the time just didn't. I didn't have the time to do it. But that's in the work. I was gonna reach out to all you guys to get involved with it. So it's gonna
Well,
be a good
hit me
time.
up. I'm in. Brian, I don't know if you know this or not, but
Yeah.
you are currently on an award-winning podcast.
Oh, I know I am. I
Award-winning
know I am. I
podcast.
see that. It looks nice down there.
I'm an award-winning host. This is the newest one.
That's why I was
This is
waiting to come on the
this is
show.
well, what I should have done. I should charge you to be on the show now.
That's
I
fine.
should, I should like,
That's
Brian.
fine.
You waited too
I
long.
can write that. I can write.
Now
I just have to
I
put a
got
little clip in this.
I gotta
Yeah, I
charge
put
you
a little
now.
clip.
I gotta
I just
charge
put
you
a
now to
little
be on the
clip on my
show
front page. It's a write-off.
because I'm a 3-time award winner.
What's that say on there now?
Well, this is the 2023 Steamtown Music Awards. This is for podcaster of the year. But I have two I won last
That's
year.
nice.
I won
Congratulations.
thank you very much.
Congratulations.
I won podcaster and podcast of the year last year. Those two awards my son stole from me and took to his bedroom. They're on his shelf. And I'm like, hey dude, you know what? That's a great place for them. I really appreciate
That
you.
is a good place. That
You
is a
know,
good place for
but
them. That's great.
I'm also one, two, three. I've got a bunch. Very thankful for those. I appreciate the recognition, and uh I it's cool that people, you know, acknowledge it. And I'm
Yeah.
thankful for people like you that want to take the time to listen to me talk, and just take the time to chat about what they're going through, and how they're being better. So thank you very much, Brian DiMattei. Tell us where we can find you.
Yes. you can find me at DiMattia's Food Fight on Facebook. Also, you could, if you want to train or get your kids involved or come train for yourself and do something different in your life, come down to Wilkes-Barre MMA, Wilkes-Barre Township Boulevard. Just look us up online. Good Tree MMA as well. And then just, Brian DiMattia on Facebook. I post, videos on there, all kinds of stuff on there, and just try to have fun, keep it positive on there, have a good time. If you want a little banter, that's what the Food Fight page is for. You know what I mean? I'll get into it with you. I got no
Oh yeah.
problem.
Oh
No
yeah.
problem. I just love pizza, and the scores I give are scores I'm feeling that day and how I feel about that pizza. And not everyone's gonna agree with it, or gonna call me trash or call me whatever. I don't care. It's pizza, bro. All pizza is good. Old Forge, New
Right.
York style, Jersey pizza. It doesn't matter. It's pizza, man. It's all fucking delicious. Who gives a shit, man? But I'll argue about it though. I don't care.
Oh yeah.
People are bitching about Primo Hoagies and saying Garrity's is better or Wegmans is better. I'm like, they're probably all really good. You know what I mean? If the bread is fresh, the sandwich is going to be good. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah.
But that's where they can find me and follow me, stay tuned. Make suggestions, stuff like that. It's a fun page to follow, and it's really coming too. And I appreciate you supporting me and all my followers supporting me as well as I've grown a little bit every day. A little bit every day.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, Brian. And hopefully I'll see you sooner than later.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
All right,
Thank
buddy.
you.
Take care. Proud of you.
You too. All right.
All right, later.
Later.